Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all our worldwide audience and IIUans. I, Professor Nada Ratkoms, the co-founder of IIU Europe, the president of IIU Research Center, country director Croatia, and board member of IIU, hearty welcome you all with a big and warm greetings, enough to encompass you all from the International Internship University on the auspicious occasion of the G20 Summit 2023, jointly organized by International Internship University with G20 International. Today, envisaged on the topic Global Financial Architecture and International Growth. So today, let us define together the financial inclusion strategy to accelerate pathway to inclusive and resilient economic growth. Inclusive financial systems provide a foundation for building strong and resilient households, communities, economies, and in this regard, financial inclusion strategies must facilitate meaningful access and effective usage of affordable financial products, services that are allowing consumers to save, invest, protect against risks, and build financial buffers for current and future needs. To make this happen, having the skills and knowledge to make the right financial decision is very important today. So we need to lay this for the individuals, businesses to improve their financial health, resilience, stimulate the economy, promote socio-economic growth. And we are doing that. Financial inclusion is very important. We are achieving all the 17 SDGs. So the recent COVID-19 pandemic has caused economic disruptions and financial inclusion strategies are going forward and we need to take into account these new realities in order to deliver meaningful outcomes that can improve the financial well-being of people in this country. So we today, this day, after amazing great G20 summits, we are continuing, we are celebrating, collaborating, communicating, catalyzing all the changes to contribute to the citizenship, community, and country. Let me now introduce our great organizers. So, Piyush Pandit, the visionary, the educationist, always had a dream to provide education to every learner across the world. He believes that the world is changing drastically, so there is no need to make changes in the education system. With this thought, Piyush Pandit concocted the world's first digital internship university, International Internship University, in 2020. IIU is providing quality, skill-based, affordable, accessible, location-independent, and skill-based digital education to all the learners across the globe, along with internship opportunities, research facilities through its 1,000+ virtual courses to all the learners across the globe. And all that through the platform of MioOC, the massive open online courses. IIU has been accredited, affiliated with World Education Organization, WOO, and International Accreditation Organization, as well as with United Nations. So in short span of time, it spreads its wings in 195 countries, 6 continents, with a team of 1,000+ experienced and qualified global educators all around the world. IIU is registered in India, Australia, Nepal, and USA, and still spreading the wings in another country. So the digital education by IIU is for all, without any hurdles, as per the own wish of the learners, without any financial stress, which is easily accessible in every corner of the world. Today, we are welcoming the group of 20G20, a paramount platform for fostering international economic cooperation, pivotal in shaping and fortifying the global framework and governance concerning crucial economic matters worldwide. India, proudly assuming the presidency of G20 from December 1st, 2022 to November 30, 2023, enhances the opportunity to spearhead the changes. Guided by the resolute leadership of Dr. Srividhya Sukumar, from the United Arabian Emirates, with unwavering support from the esteemed International Internship Court Committee and team prepared to unveil a transformative initiative. So IIU is poised to launch an empower endeavor to revolutionize the world of women, social entrepreneurs. Additionally, we are setting to convene the esteemed worldwide think tank to foster comprehensive discussions to achieve equality for all and equal world education opportunities for all the individuals. With the upcoming G20 summit being organized virtually, we have this unprecedented opportunity to transcend geographical boundaries and bring together brilliant minds from all corners of the globe. We can pave the way for a future where everyone can thrive through collaboration, innovation, and collective determination. So let us join hands, united in our pursuit of a world where every individual, irrespective of their gender or circumstances, can unleash their full potential and contribute to the progress and prosperity of our global community. Yes, together we can make a lasting impact and create a legacy of equality for the generations. So let us today continue with this amazing G20 International Global Summit. It's my honor to invite our core team member, Dr. Virginia Riviera, to join me on the stage. Dr. Virginia, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, you
Beautiful.
can.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are around the world. We are so excited to be here today. As Professor Nera said, it is so important for us to discuss G20 and really make it accessible to every person that has access today to our live stream. We have a wonderful team, a team that truly believes in education globally. And what we do is use technology to make our world smaller so we can all have access to this wonderful information. Our team is par none. The truth is that I feel very, very privileged to share with them this virtual podium. Today, I'm going to start with our wonderful core team. First of all, our dear Professor Nara, you already met her. Everybody knows her around the world. She is a global personality. And I have to say that we feel so proud to have her here with us also. Also, we have our Dr. Srividhya Sukumar. And if you know her, you know brains and beauty. I have to say that this is one of the most amazing women I have ever met. And I am dying to meet her in person, but I already feel like I know her well. And the truth is that she is so succinct in what she does and the information she knows. But most importantly, she makes all of us women look really, really smart and really, really brave. So thank you for organizing this wonderful project. She is our project leader. We also count with Dr. Inga. Dr. Inga is from Georgia. Dr. Inga, I have to say, is probably the teacher extraordinaire. Her heart is so big, but her brain encompasses everything. And she really knows how to reach every single learner around the world. We also have with us today Sandy Balahi. Dr. Sandy Balahi, I have to say, she knows exactly how to capture each one of our speakers' ideas, but most importantly, she knows how to make us understand it. And I have to say that that is one of those talents that not everybody has. With us also, Snigdha Kulumar. She is from Mumbai, and she is our project coordinator. We love having her and including her in this great project. And I am Virginia Rivera. I come from a tiny little island in the Caribbean, from Puerto Rico. I represent the United States, and I truly believe that education is the key to everything, is the portal to really help us attain anything that we want and have a world that's sustainable for all. I also would like to introduce to you today our community partners. Our community partners are those organizations that truly believe in what we do every day. So let me go ahead. So we're going to start with GC. I always have an issue finding these partners. I will be right there. Okay, so I will be right back with them. So let's start with the first speaker, and then I will introduce our community partners. I'll be right back. So go ahead, Ms. Professor Nada.
Okay, before we start with our speakers, I want to invite our brain of this operation, our great Dr. Srividhya Sukumar from the United Arab Emirates. Welcome, Dr. Srividhya. Please unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, Dr. Srividhya.
Am I audible now? Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Nada. Thank you, Dr. Virginia. And big thanks to the IIU team for honoring this event on their banner. So that was great of it. And I think we are on the 7th week of it. And that's all kudos to IIU team. So in gratitude with IIU team, we welcome you all for today's session of G20 session of International Global Financial Architecture. So what is this global financial architecture? For anything to happen in this world, we all know the big word, the big magic behind that is the money, the finance. So anybody who is related to finance is always walking with collars up. Yes, hope we agree with that. And so on that note, we just extend our sincere welcome to all our speakers for today. So before going to the speakers, we would like to go into our topic. The global financial architecture, what does it refer to? It refers to the framework of the institutions, agreements, regulations, and mechanisms that govern international financial transactions, monetary policy coordination, and financial stability. It encompasses the various international organizations such as International Monetary Fund, IMF, the big office, the World Bank, and the Bank of the International Settlements, that is BIS, as well as the regional financial institutions and bilateral agreements. So the Group of 20, G20, is an important international forum for governments, for all these governments, and the central bank governors from the 19 major economies and the European Union. It was established in the year 1999, as Dr. Nada was mentioning, as giving a brief about the G20 in response to the financial crisis of the late 1990s, with the goal of bringing together the world's leading economies to discuss and coordinate the policy responses to the global economic challenges. So the G20 members include both advanced economies, such as United States, Japan, Germany, and the emerging economies such as China, India, and Brazil. And the G20's importance has grown significantly since the global financial crisis of 2008 and 9, the great pandemic, after the post-pandemic, as it became the premier platform for addressing the financial and economic issues at the global level. So the key areas of focus for G20 include the macroeconomic policy coordination, the financial regulation and the reforms, international trade and investment, development of global governance, global health and other challenges, and the G20 operates through the annual summits where the leaders and policymakers meet to discuss these issues and release statements outlining their collective commitment and the policy directions. So the G20's influence on the global financial architecture is significant due to the economic weight on its members countries and its role in fostering the international cooperation and coordination on critical economic and financial matters. So our presidency for today is that accelerated, inclusive, and resilient growth. What's accelerated, inclusive, and resilient financial growth? Seems to be a phrase or a concept related to the economic development or financial strategies that aim to achieve rapid, broad-based, sustainable growth while ensuring inclusivity and resilience. So going ahead with accelerated growth, it refers to the focus on achieving growth at a faster pace than traditional economic trends. What does inclusive growth means? It's an economic concept that emphasizes the benefits of the growth should be shared with a wide segment of the population, including the marginalized and the vulnerable groups. Okay, the third one, the resilient growth. The resilient growth refers to an economic ability to withstand shocks and uncertainties. That is, comes under the risk management, whether they are economic, environmental, and the geopolitical in nature. A resilient economy can bounce back from all disruptions and adapt to the changing conditions without suffering severe setbacks. Bringing these components together, that means accelerated, inclusive, resilient financial growth. We would like to involve implementing policies and strategies that not only drive rapid economic expansion, but also ensures the benefits of the growth and equitably distributed across the various socio-economic groups. How are we going to achieve this? We are going to achieve with the involvement of great organizations which are included with that, investing in education and skill development, building in infrastructure and development, support for small and medium enterprises, that is SMEs, social safety nets, financial inclusion initiatives, environmental sustainability, diversification of the economy, and institutional reforms. So overall, this accelerated, inclusive, resilient financial growth reflects on a comprehensive approach to economic development that takes into account both speed of growth and the quality of the growth, with strong emphasis on equity and resilience. So on that note, we have worked on deliverables, which will be today presented by our eminent speakers as deliberations. Pointer number one, enhancing transparency and accountability at multilateral financial ability will be presented by Ms. Divya Samani. Welcome to you, ma'am. Promoting greater integration across financial markets and SMEs will be presented by Professor Dr. Jos Estes. Strengthening financial systems and capital framework will be presented by Mr. Daniel Sito. And managing international financial crisis and economic challenges will be presented by Mr. Balaji Krishnan. Climatic change policies on capital flows and the risk perception of investors will be presented by Mr. Chirag Gupta. Digital financial inclusion and advocacy to monitor financial growth globally will be presented by Hodiana Devi Nofika. Hope I got your name right. Policy analysis and the recommendations for sustainability, economic sustainability will be presented by Dr. Frolian Mobo. And point number 8, financial literacy as a state of art of safe, sustainable financial freedom across the globe will be presented by Mr. Deepak Badra. The insights shared by all our experts on the above pointers will aim to contribute the arc of the policies that will expand to include the things 7 recommendations for action, which will lay the foundation for resilient, inclusive financial growth and architecture that need to collaboratively and swift action to ensure more sustainable future. The highlight will be the need for the resilient systems that can effectively respond to emergencies while addressing broader global economic issues. So we welcome you all to join us on this collaborative effort. There we extend our warm welcome to all our eminent speakers who have joined us on this diaspora. So let's together celebrate, collaborate, communicate, and catalyst change to contribute to the citizenship community on that and country. On that note, we extend a warm welcome to one and all, and over to Dr. Nada. Thank you, Dr. Nada. Hope I think I didn't extend my time.
Thank you so much.
It's okay. I wanted to say now we want to call again our great Dr. Virginia Riviera. Dr. Virginia.
Thank you so much, Professor Nala. So we're going to be talking and thanking 2 of our community partners. Without them, this would not be possible. Number 1 is the GSFN, which has been established to provide a common platform that helps its members' financial institutions benefit from opportunities emerging through transformation to sustainable economy. Supports its members in developing capacities to integrate sustainability across the world. It fosters initiatives that helps build private and public partnerships, promoting sustainable lending and investment. Offers networking opportunities to member financial institutions, multilateral organizations, government bodies, business and industry, and other stakeholders for sharing experiences and ideas. It also provides a forum to support the development and execution of sustainable finance policies and practices. It presents a marketplace for members to promote their sustainable finance expertise, business ideas, products and services, and to search for partners to develop and execute programs, projects, and activities. And additional to all of this, and the most important, it performs any other task that promotes sustainable finance. Our other group is IGEN, the 74 million young Americans born between 1995 and 2012 comprise the most important generation in our nation's history, both in size and composition. 1 out of 4 Americans from age 5 to 22 has been collectively dubbed as the iGen generation, a shortened descriptor for the internet generation. The iGen handle won out over numerous other suggested names, namely Generation Z, which is doomed to failure because there was no context provided by a Generation Y preceding it. That generation is today known as the millennials. Other Generation Z replacements include the Homeland generation, Centennials, Post-millennial, the Founders, iGeneration, and no doubt others, all of which fell to the wayside in public opinion. This generation has its own moniker, and it's far from unusual, given the names of population groups from the past. Those several periods before, ranging between 12 and 25 years ago, were known as the last generation, the interbellum generation, the greatest generation, the silent generation, and its subset, war babies, baby boomers, Generation X, and the most recent group, millennials. Not only has it become the largest social cohort, iGens outnumber millennials and baby boomers together. The iGen generation, or iGeners, is also the most ethnically diverse generation compared to its predecessor. So without these two incredible community partners, we would not be here today. Thank you so much to them. Thank you, Professor Nada.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Virginia. Thank you for introducing the amazing partners. We're really honored to hear and to have them, and we wish we will have more. So without wasting time, I want to call one amazing lady. She's so beautiful. She's coming from India. And yes, here it writes, always better solutions. So she's always giving us an amazing solution. So I want to invite great Dr. Sandy. Dr. Sandy, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Nada. And it's a pleasure to be here. And today we're all talking about, I'm going straight to our business. Yeah, we're talking about finance. We're talking about vitamin M. So as far as a small thing is, even if it is rupees or dollars or whatever, a little amount, we always see how it is spent, whether it is spent, reserves is spent correctly or effectively. So our first pointer, enhancing transparency and accountability. In the context of SDG, it involves promoting openness, and there has to be a clarity in the reporting of progress, expenditures, and outcomes related to the sustainable development initiatives. So only when we're going to do that, all the related organizations will be able to understand the commitments, whether they are properly and effectively met. So to talk more about this and how multilateral financial stability and collaborative efforts are going to help the long-term success of all these SDG initiatives, we have with us Chartered Accountant Divya Somani, Ms. Divya Somani from India, who is an insolvency expert. She's, as I said, she's a chartered accountant and she's also a company secretary. She has a diploma in information systems audit and also a diploma in IFRS affiliated to the ACCA UK. She's a certified concurrent auditor and certified peer reviewer. So I welcome you once again, CA Divya Somani. So the stage is all yours.
Thank you so much for such a nice and lovely introduction, Sandhya ji. Without wasting any time, I'll straight away share my screen first. Just let me know whether it's visible.
Yes, only great, great.
Okay. So as you all know, today's topic is all about the financial world and how it correlates with the sustainable development goals. And the topic allotted to me is specifically enhancing transparency, accountability, and this multilateral financial stability. See, finance is the backbone of everything. If you want to do any kind of activity, you need to have finance. So even if you want to do charity, you should first be stable enough yourself so that you can help out others. So that is the way we have to pursue the things. So if we have a strong background, strong support of our own, then only we can help out others. So with that vision, with that thought, we are going to proceed for this particular topic. So what it says is, whatever the companies or the organizations are doing, they have to do it in a transparent manner. They have to be accountable for whatever they are doing. And in that way, they can bring a financial stability overall. So how does it all correlate and how these topics are interconnected? That is what we are going to study in this particular session. So as you can see this diagram, this itself, this picture, it says that this is a mirror or this is a glass and you can see through it. So there is nothing hidden basically. So transparency is basically that. If the company is showcasing itself as a big picture and it says that we are doing these kind of activities or we are producing these products or we are delivering these services, there should not be any hidden terms or conditions with respect to it. They should not take public money just for their own advantage, and it is ultimately their duty to deliver back to the society. That is what we want to know. As we all know that all the frauds which are taking place throughout the world are basically due to absence of this transparency or accountability. And wherever the government is lacking behind in controlling or monitoring, only there these things happen.
Dr.
So
Divya, if
yeah,
you are talking about a diagram, slide didn't move.
no, I have not yet moved. So the
Okay.
first picture itself, it says that it is transparent.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll be moving the slides now. So that was just the introduction part. Fine. So let me proceed. See, Lehman Brothers, if you all have heard about this, this was the world's biggest bankruptcy case, wherein 2,76,000 crores, which is a huge amount, they went into bankruptcy altogether, and it was very shocking for the whole world. So actually, what happened was they were dependent on long-term or short-term finances through banks, and the things were not disclosed properly. It was a closely connected team which was working, and they were not telling the rules and regulations were not like they were supposed to disclose it to others. So sooner or later, there were lapses in their accounting. They could not repay their debts, and therefore it led to a huge disaster. And that is the case which led to incoming of new regulations, new parameters which a government should take upon, because it is the public money which these companies are using, and this cannot be misutilized anyhow. Again, another example is of Enron. So as we all know that this Enron scandal, uh, that was again a big institution, and it fall down like anything. And later it led to the upbringing of this Sarbanes-Oxley Act, which is SOX in short, and it basically says that there has to be internal audit for whatever the company is doing. There, that has to be regularly monitored by the institutions or the organizations. The companies or the financial institutions should not be left alone in doing whatever they want to do. And because it happens that one fine day we come to know that this institution has it is unable to pay its debts and it has collapsed. So in order to avoid all those situations, this SOX Act was introduced. Again, there is one more scandal in India. It is a Satyam case, wherein you can see the figures. Whole lot of money was, the figures in the balance sheet were basically manipulated such that it went on for 7-8 years, And one fine day again, we find that the figures which are shown in the balance sheet are actually nowhere existing. So whatever the company was showing to income tax department or the other departments were actually not available with the company. So they were all manipulating it for so many years, and there was no transparency and no accountability, and it was all the public money which they used and wasted like anything. Again, one more case is regarding this fraud where Nirav Modi, who is a very reputed jewelry business owner, and he again indulged into this kind of fraudulent activity. And because there is not a single person involved in this fraudulent activity. Many institutions, financial institutions, the promoters, the directors, the whole team, whosoever are consulting these persons, they are also involved in that. And again, they are playing with the sentiments of the public, and they are misutilizing their money. And therefore, some strict regulations have to be there so that these people can be held liable for what they are doing. They cannot escape their liability just like that. And therefore, we are here with this particular session, which says that we need to enhance the transparency, accountability, and ultimately the financial stability. Because if the companies, the organizations are financially stable, this would definitely lead to a very strong economy of be it any country. So let us understand, what if there is no transparency, accountability, or financial stability, as we could understood with the examples that we discussed just now. There's a quote by the Dalai Lama. It says that a lack of transparency results in distrust and a deep sense of insecurity. And therefore, we can very well understand the issues which might arise in the absence of all of these. So first is it leads to economic stability and crisis. If a huge company or a big financial institution falls down like anything, then it brings a lot of uncertainty and insecurity in the minds of public, not only within the country, but it leads to a bad scenario. It leads to a bad reputation throughout the globe. So it leads to economic instability and crisis. Then again, it leads to default and collapses of the financial institutions, because people will not have faith in the financial institutions because they are depositing their hard-earned money to the financial institutions. And these financial institutions are giving loans to the companies and other organizations for their working. And if they are indulging into fraud, these financial institutions will have the bad debts, and they will not be able to pay back the investors' money. So that is how the whole chain goes. So everyone in the chain has to be liable. They have to really account for what they are doing. So again, it leads to investor uncertainty and reluctance whether we should deposit our money in the financial institution, we should deposit, or we should buy the equity of a particular company or not. Then again, it leads to fraud, corruption, unsustainable business practices, inequality, social unrest, etc., etc. It of course leads to erosion of public trust altogether, and therefore it is very much necessary that not only a particular country, but it should be done in a pact with all the countries as such. So in social development goal, sustainability development goal, as we say, it says that there has to be a partnership, because if a person is taking advantage of the loopholes of certain laws in a country, then what they're doing is, suppose in India there are strict laws, but in other countries there are very lenient laws wherein he can park his money from this country to other country. So it leads to money laundering activities. So in order to curtail that, in order to avoid that, we need to have a strong regulatory requirements throughout the countries, and all should follow that. It should not be just that one nation has to follow. It has to be a pact between all the countries, that they have to ensure that these kind of activities do not take place in future. Again, these people say that restoring responsibility and accountability is essential to the economic and fiscal health of our nation. So it is not just a matter of a single company or a single organization. It matters to the whole economy. And again, the transparency and the rule of law will be the touchstone of this presidency, as Barack Obama said during his tenure. So ultimately, a strong foundation on which a nation is built is the transparency. And therefore, everything, each and every law has to be transparent enough so that it caters and it ensures, faith in the public that wherever we are earning, wherever we are investing, that will be secured. So let us understand these three different topics, these three different words. First is the transparency. So according to Narayan Murthy, he says that it is about proactively bringing honesty to the stakeholders in a given situation. So whatever you are doing, you have to be answerable. You have to showcase each and every activity, because that is why in Companies Act we have a particular regulation which says that annually you have to hold or conduct annual general meetings, wherein whatever the company is doing, they have to showcase it to the public that with your money we have done these activities, and this much is the profit, and here we had invested, and this is how we are conducting our business. So everything has to be transparent with the stakeholders. Transparency refers to making relevant information about financial transactions, policies, and institutions easily accessible to stakeholders, including governments, regulatory bodies, investors, and the public. That is in short. So how can we enhance transparency? So first thing is we should have reporting standards. In every country, there is an accounting body. Like in India, we have the Institute of Chartered Accountant institution, which lays down various accounting and auditing standards. So however the financial statements are prepared, they have to be in line with these reporting standards so that there is no deviation and full and complete disclosure is given to all the stakeholders. Then again, there are various regulatory frameworks, like if the shares are listed and the stock exchange has to control those organizations. Similarly, there are various platforms wherein the regulatory environment controls these fraudulent and unethical practices. Again, there should be a policy of the whistleblower protection. So if some fishy thing is happening in any organization, and if an employee wants to complain it to some regulatory authority, he has to be firstly ensured that he will not be hampered in any case. So his protection is very much important, and that is why this whistleblower policy is very, very important in each and every organization. Then again, there has to be regulatory and supervisory bodies or agencies which keep on monitoring the things from time to time, so that there is a fear in the minds of the organization that we are liable to the public at large. Again, there has to be an open dialogue and information sharing situation, like I just mentioned regarding the general meetings and the other communication platforms, wherein whatever the companies or the organizations are doing, they showcase it to the public that this is what we are doing and this is the manner with which we are conducting our business. The next term is accountability. What is accountability? Accountability involves holding individuals and institutions responsible for their action and decisions in the financial sector. This ensures that there are consequences for improper behavior or mismanagement. So until and unless I have a fear that if I do something wrong, I'll be punished. So if that fear is not there, I will never be answerable, or I will keep on doing the misbehavior, or I'll keep on doing the wrong activities. I'll not be able to show the complete or the fair figures in the accounts. So if this accountability has to be established, the person whosoever is dealing with particular thing, particular role or assignment which he is assigned, he has been given, he has to make sure that whatever he is doing, he will be answerable for that. And that is why it is said that accountability is the glue that ties commitment to the result. So if one person is for sure that he has to answer whether if the thing goes wrong, he will be answerable or he will be punished in the then that situation. He will always make sure that the things happen in a right way, in an ethical way, basically. Now, what are the various ways to enhance accountability? As we all know, this is a digital era. Nowadays, various digital methods are used for accounting, for other ways, other things. So, in any software, uh, the person who is using that software through his codes or his user account, user ID, it will make sure that we can easily trace out back who was the ultimate person who has entered this particular entry, or he has deleted this particular detail. We can easily make out through this software or these digital technologies. So ultimately what it says that accountability clears out what expectation you want from the particular person, and it also ensures that you have a effective leadership and there is proper communication and transparency, and the whole performance metrics is based on that. So there is regular reporting and feedback from both the persons, like employer and employee. They have to communicate regularly and they should know what are the clear consequences if anything goes wrong. So proper training.
Have we lost Divya?
Yes, we lost her.
Miss Divya?
Yeah, we lost her. She lost the connection. So
So moving further, until Ms. Divya comes back, I think we will just go ahead with the next speaker. And when Ms. Divya joins, and let's take it up further. As she was rightly mentioning, like Ms. Divya Somani was rightly mentioning, financial integrity is of a paramount to the success of the 2030 agenda, as said by the President of the UN General Assembly. And it is a blueprint to address the range of obstacles, particularly surrounding illicit financial flows that we have seen in the presentation that was depicted by, well presented by Ms. Divya Somani. Thank you so much, ma'am. And as an international community committed to addressing the inequality and advancing the sustainable development, we must put in place very principles of transparency that involves sound governance and accountability. And we so often become champions in handling these issues when related to the downtrodden and vulnerable countries which are involved in it, because they are the ones who are getting victimized in this whole process. So putting sound principles in place is the first thing that should come up to avoid transparency or to handle transparency in a better way of risk management systems. So thank you so much, Ms. Divya. That was quite comprehensive. And though we missed you, and we will be able to catch up with you again. Definitely. Thank you so much, Ms. Divya. Over to Ms. Sandhya to welcome the next speaker aboard. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So we have with us our next pointer, which is about strengthening of financial systems and capital frameworks. And this is so closely linked to SDGs. Whenever the financial institutions or the regulatory frameworks or the countries can have better channels of investments towards initiative, and this can address many of the SDGs like poverty, inequality, or also support quality education and healthcare. So this approach also helps in bringing up the financing of a sustainable infrastructure and also supports clean energy. And it fosters both economic growth and environmental sustainability as we all expect it to be in the future. So to speak about this, we have with us Dr. Daniel Sithole from Zimbabwe, who is basically a social science graduate from Lupin University. And apart from that, he's also having a diploma on occupational health and safety. He also has another diploma, which is about climate governance, diplomacy, and negotiations, which talks about negotiation leadership program. And he also has a master's in climate change and sustainable development. His brainchild of Green Shango Environment Trust that's his brainchild, and he also sits there as the executive director. We welcome you, Dr. Daniel Sithole. May we request you to unmute, please?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be on this very high esteemed panel. My name is Daniel Sithole, Executive Founding Director of a local-based intervention on climate change and mitigation in Zimbabwe. As you have alluded from your
Mr.
introduction,
Daniel,
I'm going
if I can interrupt for a second, please. Can you be a little louder?
Oh, okay.
He has little bad connection, Dr. Srividhya, little bad connection.
Oh, okay. Please continue, sir. Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Now it's better.
Oh, thank
It's
you.
better.
My name is Daniel Sithole, Executive Founding Director of Green Shango Environmental Trust, a local-based initiative to fight climate change and promotion of sustainable development in Zimbabwe. It started as a youth-led organization in trying to tap the young people into participation as far as climate change and sustainable development promotion is concerned. As alluded, I'm going to talk about the strengthening of financial systems and capital framework. It's unfortunate that my laptop was encrypted today by hackers, but I'm going to present what I had drafted for the presentation so that at least we exchange views, of which I'll be free to send my write-up to the inbox or after the presentation after giving some pointers. Finance, I'm not going to dwell much on the definitions of finance and what it is all about, as it has been clearly explained by other presenters before. But I'm going to have a more bias on the financial capacity and the financial need of developing nations. I'm from a developing country, and by all means, some of the examples I'm going to give are more biased to the developing nations, especially from the global south. In the global south context, financial systems have progressed over the past 20 years as a result of liberalization, privatization, and stabilization reforms. However, developing nations, which are more likely to be non-G20, they still face many challenges and constraints, such as low financial inclusion, underdeveloped financial markets, weak institutional and regulatory frameworks, high informality and risk in such a way whereby it becomes very tough of multilateral organizations and financial institutions to fund or to release money to high-risk countries which are not stable. At the end of the day, that will still be a sideline of sustainable development as we push to attain sustainable development for the whole planet. At the end of the day, the sidelined or the under in quadrant of development. This reminds me of my own father. He used to give me a very good example to say, if you are a very successful farmer, you need to make sure that you also help some poor farmers around your farm, so that if you help them by trying by all means to eradicate pests and other challenges, it means your farm is going to be secure. Your farm will be secure in such a way whereby if your neighbors, if farms surround your farm are also secure from pests, definitely you at the center, you have a more progressive and less pests to affect you. I'm saying this in connection with the G20 and nations which are not in the G20, to say at times when those developing nations they are having challenges to access financial muscle, to capacitate themselves, financial muscles, to amplify sustainable development goals. What it means, the challenges, the problems they have, they will also still go to affect the developed nations. Talk of immigration inflows, talk of high crimes being perpetuated in nations due to economic instability and other challenges. The challenges which really affect especially the developing nations will also affect the developing nation in such a way where there is need for holistic approach.
I think, I'm sorry, Dr. Herbert, do you hear me? Mr. Daniel,
Can you hear
Dr.
me?
Daniel, please unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
Mr. Daniel, your internet connection is weak, I think so, because we were not able to hear you properly.
Yes.
Would you like to exit and come back in? Maybe like towards the end, we'll have you get it presented for one more time. Is that okay with you? Because you are not quite audible.
Can you hear me now?
We are able to hear you, but when you speak, it's quite feeble.
It's fine.
Yeah, so the thing is,
okay.
we'll wait for some time. If you can just help us with calling the other speakers, then we will just give you, we will definitely come back to you towards the end, if that's okay with you. If that's okay? Is that fine with you, Mr. Daniel?
Yes. Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. Sure. Thank you. Thanks for the understanding. That's very kind of you.
Yes,
we will
it's
be
fine.
coming back to Mr. Daniel once again. And so, like as he was mentioning in his speech, strengthening about the policies and the systems, we'll get to hear Mr. Daniel one more time before we wind up this, and so that we leave this point of strengthening financial systems in developing countries open before we conclude the session. We will definitely come back to this pointer one more time. May I request Ms. Sandy to call the next speaker so that we move on with the session, please.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Daniel, for the understanding. So the next speaker is here to speak about how to manage international financial crisis and economic challenges, which is so very required to advance our SDG, to achieve them very, very poised and in a timely manner. So whenever we're able to handle the crisis in a swift and coordinated manner, this can help mitigate the negative impact on many of the SDG, especially on decent work and economic growth, also along with maintaining financial stability. And this can also help in prioritizing poverty reduction and enhance to achieve quality education and healthcare, along with sustainable infrastructure development. To speak more about this, we have with us Mr. Balaji Krishnan, who is a chartered accountant at Rangamani Associates, which is head office at Kottayam and having 7 different branches across Kerala. And he has been a chartered accountant for the last 2 decades, and he has always believed in transformational policies and has always led from the front. And he strongly believes that be the change that you want to see in others, as said by Mahatma Gandhiji. And he's worked on assignments across the globe, especially in UAE, Qatar, and Switzerland. He's also a fellow member of Australian Chartered Accountants Society. And the most important highlight of his introduction, he's my best half. So welcome, Balaji. Please take over the stage and speak on your point.
I'll just switch to headphones for the clarity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Srividhya madam, you were about to say something?
Yes, I've got to say something. I'm sorry to interrupt at this point of time. Mr. Deepak Batra has got an emergency back home to attend. So he had requested in the group saying that I had to leave now. So I have requested him to have his presentation and then leave. If everything is okay, if it's acceptable to everybody, if I can just invite Mr. Deepak Batra to present before us, before we move further. If it's okay with Mr. Balaji.
See, I maintain WG Gray said people come, sorry. No, I said WG Gray said people come to watch me play cricket, not your wicket keeping. So I pass on the mantle to Deepak Badraji. Welcome, Deepak Badraji.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Deepak Batra, please allow me to introduce yourself. Ms. Sandhya Balaji, would you like to do the introduction for Mr. Deepak, or should I do?
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, Dr.
Yeah, you are audible.
You are audible and visible.
Yeah.
I'm quite visible, I know that.
It's audible, yes.
To be very frank, I'm taking the introduction from the LinkedIn and my page is opening. That's where I'm stuck with. So meanwhile, Mr. Deepak, I would take your help to introduce yourself and then we can go ahead with the session. I'm sorry for that. If my page opens, then I'll interrupt. I'll do the introduction part of it. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thanks, Dr. Srividhya. And I will, so I will introduce myself.
Dr. Deepak frozen. Dr. Deepak.
Hospital with my mom, but then okay, we can have this session. So as we are talking about financial literacy, and that's what I learned from my mentors, and I help people to improve their financial well-being. Now, what I learned from my mentor, the financial well-being, why it is important. Because financial well-being allows you to focus on your mental well-being, emotional well-being, physical well-being, and overall spiritual well-being. So that's why it's not all about money, but money plays a very important part in our life. And myself, my name is Deepak Badra. By academic qualification, I'm an engineer. I did 30 years in engineering and only one subject, air conditioning, HVAC. And so that's, I use this analogy that earlier I used to provide comfort to human body by air conditioning, place where we live in Dubai. We cannot live without air conditioning. So I was contributing in human comfort. Now I'm contributing to human mind and learning from mentors. And I use concept of growing money tree. Now financial freedom, imagine that entire world, like say everybody, like if one person improves financial well-being, we can easily achieve SDG, Sustainable Development Goal, in terms of financial literacy. Because if one person takes responsibility, entire world, and then whatever we see lack and limitation, poverty, automatically it can be addressed, eliminated, and improved.
Mr.
So
Deepak,
I've written, yeah.
Before we add on, are we missing out on something very special over there? Mr. Deepak has been the Amazon bestseller for his book. So if we can just introduce yourself with your book, which is there in Amazon. And
I will. It
yes,
is there in the next slide.
That's
so
more justified. That's more justified.
Yeah,
So I thought we shouldn't miss that. You know.
So my book name is, thanks Dr. Srividhya for
thank you.
Talking about my book. So my book is Grow Your Money Tree. And if you see here, there are two trees. One is normal tree and one is money tree. And principles of growing both trees is same. So that's what I'm going to cover. Who am I? I'm author, which you introduced me, of this book, Amazon bestseller. 3 years back, if somebody would have asked me, can I write a book? It was not in my dream. It was not in my mind. But then I took help of mentors. And book allowed me to, you can say, expand my message that there is something called financial freedom and we all deserve to be there. And when that happens, we can have overall well-being. And just now, our previous speaker was sharing about Bob Proctor's quote and Bob Proctor's picture. I'm mentored by Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor contributed and he helped me to understand mind. And he was talking about success or financial freedom is 95% mindset, 5% strategy. And we hardly know much about mind because our education system, maybe 50 years back when I was studying, and then now also, two things are missing in our education, money and mind. And that's what my book covers about. My company name is Abundant Living. And these are my mentors, Bob Proctor. I'm personally mentored by him. I'm a consultant with his company. I'm mentored by Robert Kiyosaki also, Rich Dad Poor Dad, who is a man of money. And Andy Harrington, who is my public speaking coach. He's my book writing coach. And this is my book, which is Grow Your Money Tree. My book launch. So if I come back to financial freedom, growing a tree, what we need, first thing, so there are 6 stages of growing a tree. And the first stage is the seed. Without seed, a tree is not going to grow. Then we need a decision to plant. Like I always carry now, today I'm not having those seeds. I carry mango seeds and acorn seed. Now those seeds are there with me since 3 and 4 years. It's not growing, even though it has potential to grow, it is not growing because I have not made a decision. So many people, they want financial well-being, they want to be financially free, but it remains as a wish, hope, or interest on. It doesn't turn into burning desire. So second stage is decision to plant. Third one is fertile soil. Now suppose if I have a mango seed and if I go to desert and if I decide to plant, it is not going to grow. Whatever I do every day, if I nurture it, if I water it, fertilize it, it is not going to grow because there is no right environment. There is no conducive environment. The fourth one is nurturing. It needs nurturing. We cannot just leave this planting the seed and do nothing. And after nurturing, fertilizing, because if you want accelerated growth, fertilizing plays very important role. And fertilizing, same thing in terms of financial freedom also, which I will come back to next slide. And then harvesting and multiplying. So all this process, we know that is required to grow a tree. What if I say that similar process is required, 6 stages to grow a money tree, indirectly financial freedom? And let's explore what is that first tree. First point, it is dream, seed. Now, unfortunately, our education system trained us to be logical, to be practical, to be realistic. If you see around, like the place I live in Dubai, there is a quote by a ruler of Dubai. He says, the future belongs to those who can imagine it, design it, and execute it. It starts with dream. Everything we see around us is because of somebody's dream. But what they did, they went into next steps. Unfortunately, we are trained that don't be a daydreamer. We are told by maybe many authority figures in our life that don't be a daydreamer. But everything starts with dreaming, and then decision to be financially free. It will not happen if it is only a wish, hope, or interest. The moment it turns into a committed decision, it means that seed is ready to plant. And then next one is subconscious mind. You need fertile soil, like any seed, we need fertile soil to plant. Same way, to plant seed of financial freedom, fertile soil is subconscious mind. And subconscious mind is something which 95% people, they are not aware. We are, every move we make in our life, every decisions we make, our faith, our logic, our belief system, our productivity, our efficiency, our creativity, our ability to earn money, everything is controlled by subconscious mind, or indirectly paradigms, programming. Now, we need to learn this. And if education system is not covering this, it doesn't mean that we should remain ignorant. So when I knew this, I straight away went to the source who was teaching this, Bob Proctor. And I learned from him about subconscious mind. The moment this happened, the shift started happening. The money tree, which was not growing for many years, I was learning after Robert Kiyosaki, it started growing. I became financially free. Bob pushed me to resign from my job. So I was having a job which 30 years I worked, I left it. And now I'm full-time into helping people to grow their money trees. Now, after working on subconscious mind, after planting that seed dream into subconscious mind, it requires action. Without action, nothing happens, but right actions in the right direction, and discipline. So discipline is what Bob Proctor's definition was, giving yourself a command and then follow it. Unfortunately, what happens, we wait other people to give us command. We feel that discipline is something which somebody tells us to do. It is we need to tell ourselves that this is me, I'm supposed to do this. Now, it was my commitment. Even yesterday night, I didn't have sleep, not even 1 minute. I was having, because it was urgent travel, but I'm there in front of screen. I came with my webcam also, because I know that to be present on the screen, I need to carry webcam, not just my laptop. I'm nurturing every day with faith. And when that happens, I need to have fertilize faith and gratitude. Now see, why faith? So there is a quote by Bob Proctor. He says, fear and faith both demands that we believe in something which we can't see. Now we have a choice to believe in fear, or we have a choice to believe in faith. Earlier, I was believing in fear. What if I leave my job? What if this doesn't happen? What if that doesn't happen? And then that was holding me back. But the moment I shifted from fear to faith, the growth started happening. And then gratitude. And why gratitude? Gratitude is looking good in what are good things happening in life. Like that will help us to focus on those good things, and then we will start feeling grateful instead of thinking about what is wrong in our life. There will be many things which are beyond control and which are in control, which we are happy with, which we are not happy with. We are given a choice to think what we want and be grateful for that. And then that's how the freedom of choice or financial freedom can be built. That is where you can reap the fruit. That's where you can have a lot of freedom of choice. And it is simple, like say, growing a tree process is very simple. We know that, even a child will know that. It needs seeds, it needs decision to plant, it needs the right soil, it needs watering, it needs fertilizing, it needs protecting from animals, but something similar with financial freedom also. And when we are talking about financial literacy for the world, definitely individual financial freedom plays a big role. When everybody feels that it is my responsibility to improve my financial well-being, imagine the world will have financial well-being. Instead of strategies are required, but then individually, if this message is conveyed that the person is having all the talents and ability, he deserves that better life, and he is having all the resources around. And that's where the beautiful place in the world we can create. So before I close my session, this is my model, a dream building formula. So dream is knowing what you really want, where you want to go, where the person wants to go, where he wants to see 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now. Now we use GPS, correct? Like we all use GPS. Why we use GPS? Because GPS gives us a definite direction, which route to take, how much is the traffic, what time we'll reach there with certainty. But GPS needs 2 inputs. GPS needs where you want to go and where you start from. If you don't give even one of these inputs, GPS will not be productive. Same thing, our mind also works. For financial freedom formula or dream building formula, one should know where he wants to go or she wants to go. But at the same time, we should know where you are. Now, I'm not talking about physical location. I'm talking about mental programming. Mental programming is something which plays 95% of role in success. So where you are, reality, where you want to be, then expectation. Expect from universe. Like, see, without expecting from universe, nothing will happen. Expect. So ask, believe, and ready to receive. That's what law of attraction is. Expecting is the key. Expect the financial freedom, how your life will look like. And then awareness. Everything we see around is because of awareness. Like, say, Thomas Edison. Now, Thomas Edison failed almost 10,000 times inventing light bulb. Everything produced to that light bulb is available in the universe since the time universe is formed, in one form or another form. So there are some universal laws, and universe operates with those precision. We don't need to do anything. Same way, Wright brothers, they invented flying. Now, everything required to make those A380 or spacecraft is available in the universe. Since the time universe is formed in one form or another form. What Wright brothers did, they become aware about 2 laws. They became aware about law of gravity and law of reciprocity. And that made flying possible. Now, today, we don't need to think if we want to grow from one end of the world to another end. And that is the beauty of awareness. So answer for financial freedom is there. It's just a matter of attracting those answers and then right mindset. Now, I'm talking about financial freedom, but I'm talking a lot about mindset, because without mindset, the financial freedom doesn't happen. I have spent 5 years from 2011 to 2016 with carrying a lot of knowledge from Robert Kiyosaki, but I was not progressing because I didn't have the right mindset. I didn't know what paradigms are. I didn't know what I'm talking right now. So paradigms. So Bob Proctor was master of paradigms. Now, if financial freedom is so simple, you should know where you are and where you want to go. Why so many people are stuck? And answer is paradigms. Paradigms controls every move we make. And no curriculum covers. I didn't learn paradigm till the age of 49. But the moment I learned, the moment I shifted my beliefs about money, we have some limited beliefs about money, that money doesn't grow on tree. And that's why I wrote this book. Money grows on tree. Now, money is a paper or currency. Paper made from the pulp, and pulp comes from the tree. So within 10 seconds, it is proven that money grows on tree. But we tell our children that money doesn't grow on tree. And then those children, they start believing. To earn more money, you have to work hard. Rich people are greedy. Money is root of all the evils. You have to be satisfied with what you have. All those are the paradigms which keeps us wired, and they are not allowing to grow. So the best way is to change the paradigms about money and make your money tree grow. And so people says, when is the right time to plant your money tree? It is now. Raising awareness, and thoughts are like seeds. Now, I was listening Bob Proctor a few days back, and Bob was giving an example of apple. He says, you can't tell, okay, you can tell how many seeds are there in apple, but you can't tell how many apples are there in seeds. Now, this is the beauty. One seed is having potential of millions of apple, but same thing with us, same thing with our dream. With one dream, we can transform the entire world. So growing a money tree is 95% mindset, 5% strategy. And how well we know our minds. Unfortunately, we are not familiar. So I will not cover this. I think I've gone long, or maybe if I have 2-3 minutes, I can cover this model of Bob Proctor about alignment. Dr. Srividhya, is it okay?
Yeah, it's okay. Please go on, sir.
Yeah,
sure.
So say we think with our mind, we think in pictures. So if I ask people who have seen Burj Khalifa or who have visited Burj Khalifa, think about Burj Khalifa. Immediately the image of Burj Khalifa will come, or think about Eiffel Tower. Immediately picture of Eiffel Tower will come. So we think with mind, we think in pictures, but we don't have any picture of mind to work with. And that's why we miss that opportunity to align our mind. So we need a picture of mind to work with. So if you see, this is Bob Proctor's model. He called this as a stick person. Now this big circle is mind, and small circle he says is body. Now this is not real picture of mind. Mind is there from head to toe in every cell of our body. But we need to know a picture to have the right flow. And conscious mind, upper half, is the thinking mind. Subconscious mind is the emotional mind, and small circle is body. So body will follow what mind tells it to do. Now everybody wants better life. Everybody wants financial freedom, but they are ignorant. They are ignorant, so they have worry and doubt. Now worry and doubt will bring fear. And fear, frustration, disappointment, anger, jealousy, guilt, these are the emotions we carry. That leads to anxiety to our body. Now, nobody loves to express anxiety. We love to spread the smile. So we suppress the anxiety. Suppression turns into depression. Depression turns into disease. Body is not at ease. And that leads to disintegration. Now, this is just because people are ignorant about mind and mindset and paradigms. Answer is shift to knowledge. Now knowledge, when there is a knowledge, it brings understanding that whatever we want is already there. It will bring faith. Faith we love to express. I love to express. It brings well-being to me. And then that helps me to accelerate. And then my body is at ease and I'm creating. It's simple, but not easy because it has to do a lot with subconscious mind. So as we are talking about money, this is what I learned from my mentor, Robert Kiyosaki. When I was 46, he asked me to go buy 3 piggy banks. So these are the 3 piggy banks. This is the lesson which I learned, and I will close with this. And he told me buy 3 piggy banks, write on one as saving, another one investing, and third one tithing. Now tithing, I had no idea what tithing is. So I asked, what is tithing? He says tithing is charity. And he told me that 3 piggy banks, saving, investing, tithing, charity. Every day morning when you wake up, put some small amount in it. And this habit, everybody, even it will help grown up also, or child also. Why this is? So I asked him, what is the purpose? Why you want me to buy piggy banks? He says, one, you have to pay yourself first. Many times we pay other people first. We pay credit card bills, we pay rental, we pay utility, we pay our debts, and we keep ourselves last. Now, to have that financial freedom mindset, make sure you pay yourself first. Every day morning when you wake up, in this piggy bank, put some small amount. Let it be $1, let it be $10, but make it as a habit. And when I started doing this, things have started changing. Believe me, that paradigm shift happened. And if I can do it, anybody can in the world can do it. And this is very small step which can help to, you can say, expand the financial literacy all over the world. So I want to start from basic level, and then entire world can have that fulfillment of that goal of financial freedom.
Respected Dr. Deepak, we will call you again. We will call you again for your great, amazing model. So
thank you.
Thank you. Because we are here listening, the model, your seeds, your plants, all what you explain us about this, and we see we need more time for this. And yes, we want to request you to come again. It was an amazing session. Really, we like it so much. Thank you. Thank you for giving us your model. It is very valuable for our audience who is with us now on Facebook, listening, watching. So we need to move.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so
You're
much.
most welcome.
Okay.
You're most welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Bye. Bye.
Now, I would want to invite our next great eminent speaker. He's coming from the Philippines. He is well known, Dr. Frolyandi Mobo. He's as I like to say, he's a researcher by heart, really working hard. It is enough to say two PhD, 3 masters. Now the 4th master is on the way. So without wasting so much time, Dr. Mobo, welcome. The IIU stage is yours. Please unmute yourself, Dr. Mobo. Unmute yourself.
Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
We don't hear you, Dr.
Hello.
Mobo. Good. Dr. Mobo.
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Okay, please, can you start?
Yes, so ladies and gentlemen, so good evening and good morning. So I'm from Dr. Frolyandi from the Philippines. So of course, the part of policy analysis and of course part of the recommendation, of course part of the sustainable development goals, of course it plays a big role because on the part of the agenda of the sustainable development goal, it is towards of course the protection and resources and planning and to make things very planned well, and it's very important to make things planned, and of course which will be able of course sustainable goals, of course, for example by following policies and guidelines, making sure that we policies and guidelines, just ensure of course that we can be able, for example, to plan reducing poverty. Of course, we can also plan for economic incentives, market-based approaches, or other research-based solutions that can heighten awareness. And of course, part of it for the solution, we also have participation of global environments, of course, to help, of course, to sustain needs of people within years. It's very important that we ensure, of course, health lives and promote well-being, and of course, making, of course, our towns, cities, human settlements more inclusive. That it can, of course, combat climate changes that we are experiencing.
We lost our great Dr. Mobo. I see today the network, all have a network problems. We again lost our speaker. Dr. Mobo. Dr. Mobo.
Okay, until then, I think we can go ahead with Mr. Balaji. So that
thank you.
He has been waiting.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Balaji. Please go ahead. Thank you.
So we
thanks
have
for
to now
joining us from wherever you are. And
thank you.
I think you're joining on your transit. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So we have now covered quite a few things. Divya was trying to figure out or how accountability, etc., plays a major role. And Dr. Batra gave us the thing about what forms in our mind to be converted into.
Louder, if you can be, please.
Yeah,
Little
it is to be
louder.
converted into a vision, dream. Now we have to understand financial crisis. We are not talking about any individual or any corporate financial crisis. We are talking about the financial crisis that will hit the country economy as a whole. Even now, you can see that there is a power and connectivity issue, which is, even though it's quite strange, we are sitting in different parts of the globe. There are power-related issues which commonly it's now. When we talk about crisis, we need to understand whether recession, crisis, and depression mean the same thing. Basically, recession is just a downtrend in the economy, which affects production and employment. But depression is much more severe, and we need to understand how the history of depression has affected the nations. When the Great Depression of 1930s happened in the United States, the catastrophic effect of the same ensured that more than 50 million people lost job, billions were lost. Now, that was a time when there was no interconnectivity as we have now, but still it affected the nations in different parts of the globe. For example, Germany got affected, France got affected, United Kingdom, everybody in the world was completely affected because of the financial crisis. In fact, this was more severe than the world wars in terms of the financial impact. In that one go, when the market crashed in 1928-29, the depression impact on the US economy was much severe than what we could have fathomed. The only way they could come out of it was through the John Maynard Keynes' theory, which allowed them to pump money more into the market. So we'll see more about it. Then came the Suez crisis. So what we are trying to understand is if something goes wrong in one particular country, how it affects the entire world's economical structure, and what is that we have played in terms of the role played by United Nations diffused, and then we go to the path of recovery. So as you would know, when in 1956, Egypt nationalized the Suez Canal, everyone around France, Israel, UK, they went into a military action. Then Israel invaded Sinai. Then all hell broke loose. But then what happened later? Britain was severely affected. They could not really maintain their cash flows, even though they had money, but then they could see then the role of International Monetary Fund, as we had seen in one of our earlier presentations. The Bretton Woods Conference created this International Monetary Fund. So International Monetary Fund stepped in. So that's exactly the point that we're trying to make. When there is a crisis, when there is a financial impact made in a country having a rippling effect in other parts of the globe, a bigger organization like International Monetary Fund steps in and they provide us. But unfortunately, United Nations did not qualify for the financial support from IMF because they were sitting on a huge reserve. They said, we want support, but then we will not dilute our reserve. So that was the reason why they were not given. Then, if that was the only thing that we need to see, then came the international debt crisis of 1982, which engulfed 20 countries, Romania, Hungary, Yugoslavia. They all wanted the reschedulement of payment. See, this is how the whole thing works. There is an International Monetary Fund, World Bank. These organizations provide economic and monetary support to many countries. So if one country is unable to meet their crisis, as we will see later in our presentation, the classic case of Mexico, where it resulted in the issues being transformed into an engulfing crisis in other parts. So that's when the management of crisis plays a major role. So my brief is just to give an overview of what exactly is the crisis that we're talking about. Then we will also have a general understanding of what is the difference between crisis, recession, and depression. Now, then we have to see that commercial banks believed that sovereign lending to developing countries was a highly profitable activity. See, we need to understand who needs money must be given money. If you go to a hospital, if you see that oxygen is being given to a person who's otherwise healthy, and then oxygen is not being provided to a person who is badly in need of it, that's bad management. This really took a long time for people to understand. The World Bank, the IMF used to fund only developed countries. So only rich were becoming more richer. The aspect of poverty was not really addressed. And SDG has a clear goal of zero poverty as one of its main goal in the action ADABA that they have taken up to ensure that there is parity in terms of outreach to food. So if you make one person have more food and one person have no food, that's not development according to the United Nations. And we'll straight away head to see what United Nations have to see in this matter. United Nations, they have very clearly laid out there are 5 critical policy agendas for economic recovery in developing countries. We are only bothered about developing countries because gone are the days when money used to be given only by IMF and others only into developed countries. So United Nations have this 5-pronged policy for rechannel unused special drawing rights. This is exactly what I was trying to say. In August 2021, IMF issued 650 billion in new special drawing rights, the highest allocation in the history. But about 65% of it was channeled to developed countries which didn't use or need them. Now they have understood that money has to be provided in the place where it is needed. Like Dr. Deepak said, the seed has to be sown in a place where it is fertile and there is a necessity to grow. If you put it in a sea, the seed will never grow. So sea here in comparison are the developed countries which has enough cash resource. So on a macro level, funds are pumped into developed countries. The global scenario will not change much. Then the second is to expand the state contingent debt instrument. It is simply the state-controlled debt instrument in terms of economic, social, or climate distress. Governments may have no option but to serve when the COVID crisis hit everyone. We saw that governments gave a complete moratorium on the loans. It ensured that it ensured across the world. We saw that all the central banks were given direction by the government to stop collecting money for the time being because nothing was moving across the globe. Then comes the third part is very important. We need to establish a multilateral credit rating agencies finance both as player and umpire with profound effects on economic policy making and investor decisions. The credit rating agencies are so vital because been following SDG, they have better prospect of getting funding even though they need it. Somebody who's not applying the SDG formula properly may not be looked upon by the International Monetary Fund or even other such organizations, because United Nations have made it a point that what they want to achieve globally has to be done each of the substrata, not just to see the overview. The average is not an applicable thing. What is specific to that country has to be rated. So that's why the credit rating agencies play a major role. That then comes the next part, which is very interesting to hear. It is increase South learning from development banks. We have Asian Development Bank. So we need to ensure that the global pool of regional and national public banks include over 900 institutions oversetting 200 trillion to 49 trillion of assets with accumulated expertise and institutional knowledge. When the pandemic forced the global economy on to life support in March 2020, government depended on public banks to deploy their policy responses. There is a recent volume which is released by the United Nations, which found a variety of innovative policy tools being deployed across the regions. Some countries said, we will give you funds. Some countries said, you need not pay. Some countries said, don't pay tax now, we will defer that. So these innovative policies came about because there was a crisis. So this crisis actually gives rise to some fantastic new ideas. Without the Great Depression of 1930s, we wouldn't have the John Maynard Keynes' theory being put into action, which only meant that pump more money into public development, automatically the recession will, because when you are pushing the money into the public domain for public development, the people in the lower strata start getting work. Unless and until you have the regular income maintained for unskilled population, then no country can ever dream of development. Then comes the last part of the United Nations agenda, which is the fifth and final one, which is called to deploy capital flow management. New research focused on the linkages between large capital inflows and premature deindustrialization has revealed that large capital inflows showed a negative correlation with measures of That's very important. When the law of pumping more money into something which is not required, then that will result in slowdown of the economy. So that also they have found that with compounded crisis on horizon, multilateral, regional, and national strategies, they must work together for a sustainable and transformative recovery. I've taken the experts from the United Nations website itself. Then comes the final part. We need to conclude this and get on. There are other speakers waiting. So the point that we are trying to make here is crisis is bound to happen. We can't stop the crisis from taking place. But then if you have a plan for crisis, then not only the progress on a normal level is taken care, but then that 1% planning, whenever you plan, you should ensure that there is a 1% chance of everything failing. For example, we are sitting at our home, we have an inverter in place. I am presently using the mobile data. I was envisioning a position when the moment Divya Somani got knocked out from the thing because of connectivity issues, me and Sandhya formed a strategy that we should use the phone very sporadically. We turned off all the lights. So we are now showing a crisis management at a micro level at home, relating to a small matter. Likewise, all the governments, we need to put our head together and then plan on a unison. India cannot have a separate policy. United Nations cannot have a separate policy. It is now as global as it is. Even the depression of 1930s taught us that even though there was no interconnectivity, we hardly could talk. We came to know what is happening in United States after 6 months. But then the global financial crisis hit everyone. Now it's very important that we start developing the developing countries or underdeveloped countries. Only then people will make more money on an equitable level. With that, I sign off. Thank you very much, Srividhya, madam, and all the others who have been very kind in giving me support time and again. We heard from Divya, we heard from Deepak ji, and Sandhya's beautiful introduction as usual, from our heart to our heart. So I'm staying in our heart. So it is safely well taken. Now we have Joseph sir also coming. So very good evening to all of you. Before my battery drains out, I don't want a blackout to say that, oh no, Balaji is not there, switch to the next speaker. Gleefully, I'm vacating my seat for the next person to take and then give a thundering presentation from his side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Balaji. What else can I say when it comes from Mr. Balaji? What? It's not going to be less than this. We know it very well. And as you know, you don't need a presentation to present before or talk about finance, which you breathe day in and day out and every single moment as such. We know that. We know that very well.
I'll not even take a minute. Along with Great Depression of 1930s, in 1932, another big crisis took place. That was in the field of cricket when the Bodyline series was created. There are some interesting statistics that come out of it. Bradman was having an average of above 100. Now, England planned to bring that down substantially. Of course, it did come down. It came down from, he averaged 74 in that series, and he was considered as a failure. But then nobody knew what was hitting them. But then what is the standout of that series? The innings played by Stan McCabe. He scored 187 runs, which is worth every billion for each run scored. Bradman was standing in the balcony and said that I cannot play an innings like that. Stan has shown that he can also attack Bodyline. So Bodyline changed the whole structure. So this crisis will again evolve to make us feel better. God has always his designs very well laid out. Only then our intelligence becomes sharper. Thank you.
Very true, Mr. Balaji, with two great examples of one with the global scenario of Bradman's cricket scenario, the cricket league, and one with the home scenario of managing managing a power failure is totally a good example of risk management systems that we are highlighting over here on your topic of future of finance and the global economy, having with all the risk management systems. As we look forward, look towards the world in 2040, as Mr. Balaji was really mentioning, aiming to foresee the economy, the financial sector, and the society will take its place to discern the major factors that will shape the economy and the society by mid-century. And overall, as Mr. Balaji, taking Mr. Balaji again as an example, and other eminent speakers of today, and also the other scholars and policy makers who have joined, who have worked on this, largely agree to the 5 key global forces that will be pivotal in influencing the economy of the future. Hope everybody will agree with me. Hope Mr. Balaji too. First, the growth of digital technology. Second, the importance of sustainability, especially in the context of climatic change. Well, with the idea of metacognition, how to overcome the situation. Third is the role of changing demographics. So be the change that you wish to see. So it's not the change that we want to see in the society is what we learn from. You be the change and then start implementing, start influencing, start living the change, and then you take it forward to the society. The fourth is the complexity of the geopolitics. For anything and everything, we need to be aware of the environment. We need to know about the adaptation. So geopolitics is definitely coming into handy to manage any situation. Then only you'll be able to manage any situation. The fifth, last but not the least, the inevitability of the structural transformation. That's what is the whole thing that is going to design the financial culture. Thank you so much, Mr. Balaji. That was quite comprehensive, and the quintessence was towards this rational. Thank you so much. Moving to Mr. Again, over to Ms. Sandhya Balaji to welcome the next speaker on board. Thank you.
Yes, now that we talked about crisis, the one moment that we think about crisis is climate. And the climate change can be a significant crisis, and it can lead to different kind of adverse effects. And this is something which is foreseen by investors as a risk perception, especially when there are policies that promote sustainable practices and clean technologies. These will attract investments only if they are aligned with climate goals. So to speak more about that, we have with us Mr. Chirag Gupta, who is a chartered accountant and from RNG Auditors UAE. And he has worked in his early career with top business houses like ICICI, Kalpataru Limited, Q&A Accounting. And he has a beautiful career objective. So I can call him the honest accountant. So he wants to be the most trusted and respected professional who would provide the highest quality professional services in a timely, efficient, and innovative manner. Welcome, Mr. Chirag Gupta, and please take over the stage.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the kind and wonderful introduction. I haven't heard this for a long time. So thank you so much. And thank you, Dr. Srividhya, for inviting me as a speaker. It's an honor to be here in among all the panelists. With this, I start my presentation. I would like to share my screen. I have made a short presentation. I hope my screen is visible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for confirming. So if we, as you rightly mentioned that, as an investor, whenever there is any change, I would rather say change brings an opportunity, and change is what allows a new investor to invest in new and exciting areas, because there's also a proverb, that sorry to use Hindi language, that risk hai to ishq hai, so that is what all the change lies about. So with this, I would like to introduce my topic, which is climate change policies on capital flows and risk perception of investors, pointer number 5, G20 presidency, India 2023. So if you see, as an introduction, climate change policy has become interestingly important in recent years as we all face global warming and we all know the impact on environment and society. Climate change policy have a significant impact not only on the people like us, but also on the investors, particularly with respect to the capital flows and risk perception. So today, we are going to talk about how different policies have impact and how we can try to overcome for both policymakers and investors alike. To begin with, first, if you see capital allocation shift. So whenever there's any climate change policy, they often prioritize transition to a low carbon economy. With this, the companies who are heavily reliant on fossil fuels and other emission activities may face decreased demand and increased regulatory scrutiny. On the other hand, investors in renewable energy and sustainable technologies are highly likely to gain favor. As a result, this may allow investors to relocate their capital from carbon industry to a climate-friendly sector. And as we have, just to take one live example, a lot of my friends and colleagues who are investing in stock market, nowadays, they instead of investing in a company who is into coal or mining or into oil sector, they invest in companies who are into wind, solar energy, or EV. No doubt there's a bright future, but also the cost is becoming competitive. So with this, you can see that shareholders are automatically investing in greener technologies. So automatically the companies are compelled to invest in greener technologies. Moving on, the next risk is regulatory risk. So if you see, whenever there's a climate change, there's always regulatory risk for the companies, especially operating in carbon intensive sectors. Like say, when carbon mechanism, there are many mechanisms like carbon mechanism, stricter emission standards by bureaucrats to make sure that the environment is being protected. Like say, if there's any river flowing nearby, so government would like to make sure that there's no chemical discharge without proper treating it into the river. Otherwise, it will impact the floral vegetation and obviously the fishes. So in this, investors has to be they make sure that what are the regulatory risk in long-term investments they make. So we have observed that, especially with a factory, it's a new or it's a coming factory, or they have to make sure proper relocation is made of the people, of the animals relying on that plot of land. Plus, whenever the factory is built, then later on, any noise pollution, any air pollution coming from the factory, the government might impose for the mechanism. And later, maybe after 50 or 70 years, they may also tell the factory to shift to a different location. So all these factors come into place for the investors when they're making such big investments. Next is physical risk. So physical risk stands for any extreme weather conditions like hurricanes, floods, wildfires, which they not only impact the infrastructure, but they also disrupt the supply chain. And this leads to increased insurance cost. While I was preparing this presentation, I was not aware, I just came to know that insurance companies in one of the country, they stopped insuring due to wildfires. Because in a particular country, there were so many wildfires happening that they said, no, we cannot insure. So this automatically impacts the investment in a particular area. So any company who would like to invest, they would first see if that area is prone to any earthquake, any natural calamity, because we all know that if you go to the insurance company, they will say it's act of God and they would not cover in that insurance claim. So due to this increased climate change, we have seen a lot of extreme weather conditions like heat waves and all, which disrupt the normal working conditions. Like this extreme heat wave, the laborers, the workers, they cannot work out in the sun. They should be given proper shed area or proper rest areas to work out. Especially if we talk about my country, which I'm living in, Dubai, we have seen the government is properly monitoring that there's midday break is given to the workers. There is no worker working out in the harsh extreme conditions. Moving on, transition risk. So in this case, what happens is that whenever there's a transiting from high carbon to low carbon economy, it creates risk. So the companies who fail to understand or fail to adopt these new trends, they always fail a declining performance. So investors must also understand this process, and there should be smooth transition from high carbon to low carbon model. Like if we talk about EV in my earlier example, so we have seen as slowly all the car makers, you name any car, and all the car makers are moving to electronic vehicles. So they are slowly have adopted themselves that no, this is the new future. They have to adopt it, or they will get destroyed. Similar case if you talk about all the electronic equipments. Why? Because the companies have understood that going forward, this is the way out. They have to understand it. So as I mentioned in the starting that as an investor change, what is opportunities? So what are the opportunities for the investors over here? No doubt, in the opportunities if we talk about, first is renewable energy, electric mobility, sustainable agriculture, green infrastructure. Like if you talk about nowadays, the talk of the town is energy storage technologies, batteries, which can generate electricity and store in the battery, and then we can use it when required. So this is the new opportunities for all the investors who want to invest in. Then moving forward, what are the policy tools which government across the globe uses? Number one, as we all know, carbon pricing, where they put a price on carbon or they put carbon tax. Then renewable energy subsidies. In my hometown, where I'm from, India, Jodhpur, Rajasthan, the government is giving subsidies if any household invest any solar plant, like say to heat the water. So the government can use these policy tools. First is negative, which because it gives tax, it increases the prices, and second is positive manner, which gives the positivity for the investors, for the people to invest in much more greener and sustainable solutions. Then we all know that companies can have all the power to invest in innovative solutions which can address climate change and can enhance the productivity and attract the investor interest. Because we all know that when shareholders put pressure on the companies, automatically the business practice might change. We cannot always depend on the government that no, government will do something. No, it's our society, it's a collective responsibility of us all that we need to come up and re-emphasize to all that no, sustainability is the new model, then only we can prosper. With this, I would like to conclude that it's a long-term issue, and the effects may not be immediately apparent. But investors with long-term horizon will definitely have positive results in a few years, and climate change policy can reshape the capital flows, as I already mentioned, because the investors can influence the decision making of the companies. Investors who are proactive in deciding and understanding the implication of these policies and procedures will definitely impact to navigate in a changing landscape. And I would like to also add on one more important point, that a lot of companies we see that they make promises, but they not live up to their promises. So one of the important elements which I personally feel is disclosure in the financial statements of the company, that how much are the greenhouse gases they emit and what are the climate related risks the company possesses. There may be a cultural shift, but we see the trends are clear slowly. I've seen many stock market companies, they have already started giving these disclosures for the investors to see. With this, I conclude my presentation. If any questions, I would like to take up now or later as the time permits. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pankaj. That was quite comprehensive and quite informative when it comes to the climatic change related to the finance. Thank you so much. And as you rightly said, mitigating climatic change requires a large-scale transition in the low-carbon economy. And we all know that scientific consensus is the climatic change that is undermining the ecological systems on which, as you rightly mentioned, about the human and other forms of life depend upon. The mitigating climatic change is crucial to preserving the conditions for the economic growth of life within the Earth systems. There is also a strong scientific consensus that the limiting global warming to well below 2 degrees centigrade requires a transformation of the structure of the global economy activity on massive scale. And on their own, the markets cannot deliver sufficient mitigation, and a wide range of macroeconomic and the financial policy tools can affect climatic change and can be a part of the package of the measures of the mitigation. Well, do you agree? To conclude, more research is needed on the most effective policy mix for climatic change mitigation, and the role for climatic mitigation is the overall policy framework that is going to decide the fabric of the economic culture. Thank you so much, Mr. Pankaj. It was quite comprehensive and very informative. Thanks for being with us, and it's always a pleasure having you on board with us as a speaker. Thank you so much. We value your precious time. Thank you. Over to Ms. Sandhya Balaji to welcome the next speaker on board. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And right now, today, to be digital is something as good as ABC. Somebody who's not digital or not gone digital is illiterate. So digital financial inclusion is very, very important. it's a great indicator, an important indicator for the economic development and also the achievement of sustainable development goals. So when we expand the access to financial services through digital platforms, it enables individuals, particularly women and other underprivileged communities, to save, invest, and manage their resources effectively. Thus, it helps in addressing eradication of poverty, also gender equality, and gives more opportunity for economic growth. So to speak more about this, we have a beautiful woman with us from Indonesia. She is Herdiana Dewi Nurfika. Miss Herdiana Dewi Nurfika, have I got your name correct?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, and to introduce her, I think I would require one big session as such, but I'm making it as short as possible. She's an entrepreneur, certified NLP master practitioner, ACT therapist, REBT therapist, certified group life coach, mental health advocate, international speaker, meditation teacher, entrepreneurship and business coach, sales coach, employee performance coach, and she has a bundle of certifications, including a certified social media marketer and a TikTok marketing person. So we welcome you, ma'am, and looking forward to your inputs on the digital transformation that we require for this world to attain sustainable development goals.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Sandy, for the introduction. Hello, good morning, afternoon, and evening to everyone. First of all, I'd like to express my gratitude to my dear Professor Nada for the invitation and the amazing IIU team, Dr. Srividhya, the project leader, Dr. Snigdha, Dr. Virginia, and our amazing host today, Dr. Sandy, and warm welcome to all speakers and also participants around the globe. My name is Herdiana Nurfika from Indonesia, and I'm CEO and founder of this education center, Presidency firm, and also HDN staff, and I'm here today to delve deeply into a matter of great significance that connect technology, finance, and societal progress, like our host already mentioned today. My topic is digital financial inclusion and advocacy to monitor financial growth globally. Because yeah, we live in 21st century. We also connect with more and more technology advancement. So as we are here today, I think it's important to remind that we are charged with the responsibility of championing the cause of digital financial inclusion, not just as an inspiration, but also as a global imperative, because in an increasingly interconnected world, access to financial services has really transcended the realm of privilege to become an equivocal human right. Because yeah, our meeting today signifies our collective commitment to transcending borders and bridging socio-economic divides by fostering financial inclusion on a global scale. So I think it's also a commitment to ensuring that economic opportunities know no geographical or socio-economic constraints. So in today's topic, to provide a more profound understanding of the ramification of digital financial inclusion, I'd like to share some story, but I don't have a presentation for today. So I got a real life example. For example, in rural Kenya, there is a smallholder farmer named Jane. I think Jane is just a name. Many people also face this in many countries, especially in developing countries. So Jane used to struggle to access credit and saving facilities due to her remote location and lack of traditional banking infrastructure. And however, with the advent of mobile money platforms that are available nowadays in Kenya and in many South African countries, now Jane can receive payments for her produce directly on her phone, access a micro loans to invest in her farm, and even securely save for her family's future. So this transformation has not only improved Jane's economic prospect, but has also created a ripple effect in her community, like contributing to poverty reduction and local economic growth. And the other digital example is in India. So consider the case of a small village in rural India. We know that there are some dairy farmer. I think many people struggle for years to secure loans to expand the business, especially in farms. So traditional banks, we know that were far from the remote village, and the paperwork and bureaucracy were really daunting. People really got so much difficulty when they want to leverage their business, especially in the farm village. So the pledge began to change with the advance of digital financial service, even in the rural area. So a local mobile banking agent can help people to open digital bank account. Okay, because if you live in a rural area, it's going to take so much time to go to the bank. So with the lack of infrastructure, it's really difficult. But with the digital bank account, with the new fund access, many people could apply for microloans with relative ease. And yeah, people can use this loan to invest in better cattle. So they can also improve feed and modernize the farming techniques because yeah, they get help. So with the dairy business prosper, many people no longer at the mercy of unsupposed money lenders. So this transformation, I think, is not limited to people in India or in Kenya, but also reverberated through the community. And I think it's also spurring economic growth and empowering others to follow the path towards financial independence, especially this usually happen in developing countries, even in my own country too. And there's also example in Brazil, like a fintech empowers small businesses in Brazil. Like a group of small business owners face challenges in securing capital to expand their enterprise. And traditional banks were often reluctant to lend them due to their modest size and lack of extensive credit history. And however, the rise of financial technology or fintech platforms really offer these entrepreneurs a lifeline. So fintech companies utilize alternative data sources and advanced algorithms to assess credit worthiness more effectively. And as a result, this kind of small business owners can access affordable loans that enable them to purchase inventory, hire more employees, and even broaden their reach. So this only integrate local economies, but also foster a culture of entrepreneurship that fuel innovation and also job creation. So the stories that I have mentioned actually exemplify the tangible impact of digital financial inclusion, where access to basic financial service facilitated by technology can unleash the potential for economic growth, poverty alleviation, and also improve living standards because people get help. They get more efficient in the work and also get help much easier for their growth in life. And however, I think realizing the vision of global digital financial inclusion requires a concrete and also multi-pronged effort. So in today's session, I'd like to talk about 7 pillars to build a framework in order to build a digital financial inclusion. The first, what we need most is, of course, collaborative regulatory frameworks, because we must foster international cooperation to develop regulatory standards that promote financial innovation while safeguarding consumer rights, privacy, and financial stability. Because when we talk about modern technology, advancement, AI, and many things, we got so many cases with the fraud, like our previous speakers already mentioned. So a harmonious regulatory environment can really engender trust in digital financial service, like encouraging both usage and also investment. Not only bring more user, but yeah, we can attract the investor to take a part in this development. Next is infrastructure development. So when I talk about infrastructure, it's not about building new bank here and there in rural area, no. But investment in digital infrastructure are indispensable by expanding access to high-speed internet and mobile networks. So we can assure that even the most remote region are empowered to participate in the digital ecosystem, because yeah, it's not only about be able to go to the bank, but it's also about high-speed internet and also mobile networks, like the study or the example that I have mentioned with the digital mobile account. Of course, how could that person is able to do application for digital bank account if that person doesn't have enough good internet connection? Maybe there are so many facilities that we can use, many applications, many things, many platforms that we can use, but we cannot use or take advantage of it because we got no network. Okay. The third point is, of course, education and awareness, because Financial literacy is the cornerstone of inclusive finance, and we must invest in educational initiatives that equip individuals with the knowledge and skill to navigate digital financial tools securely and effectively. Securely and effectively is supposed to be a highlight, because when we talk about digital inclusion and many other things related to the technology, we have to make sure that our people or our user privacy is going to be safe. So we also have to make sure the secure stuff as well, not only effective, because we know that usually technology help us to make our work more efficient and also more effective, right? And moreover, this program should address different needs, respecting culture norms, languages, and also accessibility for individuals with disabilities, because we know that many people got a disability, and we also have to take care of their needs too. Next pillar is public-private partnership, because like I have mentioned at the beginning, collaboration is really neat. So the collaboration between governments, financial institutions, and technology companies and civil society is really pivotal. It's not only about, okay, we got a government and we got a private sector, but we have to involve our civil society. We have to educate them too. So together we can harness collective expertise and resources to drive an innovation and scalability. So if it's not scalability, then it's not going to be advantage for many people. We have to make sure that it's going to reach more or broaden people, even in areas that got no access much. So public-private partnership can really help develop inclusive solutions that tailor to the unique challenges faced by different regions. Because when we involve our civil society, okay, we got a story from A city to B city to D city may be different. So we have to make it a unique, but not we don't have to make something unique for every city. We have to find a common ground needs for them. Next is data-driven monitoring, because our topic for today is also include monitoring. So we should leverage data analytics and artificial intelligence. We know that AI have been used for many sectors. We can also include this to monitor the progress of financial inclusion. So by collecting and analyzing the data, we can identify the gaps and target intervention where they are needed most, because with the help of AI, with the help of the algorithm that we are going to take, we can track, or we can identify even from our user behavior. How is the user that usually use a specific mobile bank account, usually purchasing and so on. We can collect the data information from that, even though it's secure, but for the growth, we can access that. And this data-driven approach can really inform policy decision and enable us to measure the impact of our efforts really can be go accurately, because if we don't go with the data, then we cannot go further. So we have to monitoring based on the data, and we can go further with the other innovation or the revision. Let's say we need to make something new. And the next is inclusive product design, because we have to design financial product that cater to diverse population, which is really such a paramount, because we need something involves considering something include like culture norm, language, like I have mentioned, also accessibility for individuals with disabilities, because inclusive design ensure that financial services are not one size fits all, but are tailored to meet the unique needs of each community. Because if we talk only about a one size fits all, I think it's too selfish. But we want to make a world where we can be happy together, we can work together in many things. So we have to find someone unique. It's going to take more ways, but it can be promised that it's possible. And the next is, or the last one, is risk mitigation. So while we advocate for digital financial inclusion, we must also address the concern related of cybersecurity and fraud. Like I have mentioned, everything related to technology, not only about the financial, even for our social media, it's always related to the cybersecurity problem and many things. And we have to take concern on this. So establishing a robust security measure it. And yeah, I think it's really important to protect user financial asset and personal information. So we have to strengthen the cybersecurity, which have to measure that it's going to instill confidence in digital financial service, like driving greater adoption. Because if we don't take care of it, many fraud is going to happen. For example, like I have mentioned in Kenya with the mobile MoneyGram, it's really make something more efficient in South African countries, but at the same day, there are so many people who try to take advantage of it. They make a fraud. So even though we realize, okay, people already got advantage of it, there is some little bit gap that we also have to make sure that those people who are trying to take advantage from other people cannot really be into it. So we have to make sure that when we want to launch the product design, for example, we have to be really prepare ourselves for about this kind of the cybersecurity and especially fraud, because yeah, money mostly with the innovation include the fraud cases. So as we continue to advance our vision of a more equitable and prosperous world, I think digital financial inclusion must be firmly embedded in our collective consciousness. So we have to embrace technology innovation, promoting collaboration, like in the pillar that I have mentioned, and also committing to ourselves to monitor and support financial growth globally. Because yeah, if our government provide many applications, many new things, many digital bank accounts, but we don't support it, then what's the use for it, right? So I represent the path to a future where economic opportunity are accessible to all is such a responsibility from all citizens, not only those people who work in the chart. Because yeah, imagine a world where the Jane story from the Kenya or the people from the India really face these challenges regardless of the society, regardless of the geographical location or socioeconomic status. They can participate fully in the global economy. So this vision, well, it sometimes sounds like ambitious. We want to take everything. We want to make it personalized. We want something that fits to all. Yeah, it sounds ambitious, but it's within our reach, because together we can create a world where economic opportunity are not confined by borders or circumstances. Okay, because when we talk circumstances, yeah, it's only going to get advantage from some people only, not in the majority people. Okay, so I think, yeah, the opportunity is really supposed to be reached from the broader places, the broader audience or the broader user, because digital financial inclusion becomes the hallmark of an inclusive and progressive society. So to conclude my speech today, I think, yeah, let's us unite our commitment to this mission, leveraging our collective influence to ensure that no one is left behind in the journey toward digitally inclusive and financial landscape. Because I think this transformational power of digital financial inclusion is not a merely promise, it's a shared responsibility. We have to do collaboration. It's not only about the government and in the tech industry, but we all are here together to uplift entire communities, nation, and ultimately our world too. So I think just it from my side. Thank you so much for listening. I'm giving back to our host, Dr. Sandy. Thank you so much.
Ms. Hardiana, that was a wonderful presentation. I should definitely say that to you. Starting from start to stop and including from Indonesia to India, Kenya to India, and you have covered it all in the sense, like in a more comprehensive way. Well, we got the chance, and whatever our takeover is going to be that from you, through you, is that digital financial inclusion involves deployment of the cost-saving digital means to reach currently the financial excluded and the underserved population. Thanks for mentioning it, because these are the people who needs forum like this, who needs voices like this, and the voices are being heard through you as your presentation, as your representation on this forum. Definitely with a range of the formal financial services suited to the needs that are responsible responsibly delivered at a cost affordable to customers. Definitely, we'll take all these things in mind. Definitely, having thinking about it was very thoughtful. It was quite thoughtful to think about all these things. And to sum it up, well, we do agree with you on the fact that the introduction of the non-financial firms deploying the new technologies, new contractual relationship between the financial institutions and the third parties, including the use of new agent networks and other outsourcing arrangements, different regulatory treatment of deposit-like products compared to deposits, unknown as yet unpredictable costs to inexperienced vulnerable consumers, and to the use of new kind of data that is very, very important to introducing to the more privacy and the data security issues. You have covered it, everything from start to stop, as I told you. Hats off, really. It was quite comprehensive, and it is always a pleasure to have you amidst us, because you keep us on our toes to hear you from ear to ear, head to toe. Thank you so much, Ms. Diana. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. May I request Madam Sandhya Balaji to invite the next speaker? Thank you.
Yes, it was an interesting session, Ms. Diana, and I would just like to add one point that I really liked, is that not one size fits all. That is the true essence, and I'm sure going forward, all these developments will lead to each to his own, and everything is customized. And yes, going ahead, we would like to invite our next speaker, who will be speaking on promoting greater integration across financial markets and small and medium-sized enterprises. Now, these small and medium-sized enterprises are the catalysts in any economy that drive the economic growth in speeds manifold that we expect, or rather more than the expected level, and address various SDGs, especially to give decent work opportunity and give opportunities for innovation, and also ensure sustainable and responsible consumption and production patterns. So to speak about that, we have with us Professor Dr. Jose Luis Esteves, who is an edupreneur, mentor, CEO of Exponentialist platform, and an accomplished senior executive with diverse experience. He's a manager of corporate and educational strategy and public administration as well, and third sector and agent of Inovativa Brazil 2021. He has a strong academic background and international exposure, and he has spearheaded projects in marketing, human development, finance, and more. And he's also a strong sustainable from the Upbring Foundation, and he's a 3 times recipient of the Burn Efficiente Prize, Instituto Canids SP. Welcome, sir. It's a pleasure to have you here, and we look forward to your inputs.
Well, thank you very much. It's really an honor to be here again for the second time. Hopefully, we will have a chance to meet again ahead in the coming future, because I do believe that we are creating here a very sound background to agenda to action initiatives related to an assorted and a variety ranges of impactful subjects and matters. In the last Sunday, we have been talking about the One Health. Today, we are talking about all these impacts that drive the economy in global perspective, especially with the slight highlights in certain subjects. I thank you very much for my antecessor here with this, brilliant speech, and I highlight also of the digital fintech initiatives. She enabled Brazil among of those that we're trying to develop some initiatives to broaden the democratic access to banking with the digital economy put in place. So it is very nice to hear about that, because I will make a slide also highlight of this concerning fintech approach here in Brazil. Dr. Herbert also contributed a lot with the perspectives, and I believe that we have to put here in the middle of the scene, of the global scene, the question of bringing financial markets is more binded with the sustainability approach everywhere in the globe, especially in these years of post-pandemic, or at least in these post-pandemic years, where we will still have to look forward to see what from these impacts that we have globally. Of course, that I can speak a little bit more about Brazil, because I do live here and work here in Brazil, and you will be able to speak about your own national environments. But I have had the opportunity to highlight this by building a bridge between the aspects of the Philippines education, for instance, and Brazil during an international conference that was promoted and sponsored by Baguio University, that is an almost centenary university in Philippines. And so I would like to thank you very much for this opportunity of joining with you today and this Sunday. Hopefully we will keep the, these discussions in a higher level and try to make this a very live experience to bring our, international connection and as a key contributor to, policy development and everywhere in our countries. Thank you very much. I will also, I put here some informations in our chat room. Of course, you can contact me and you are all invited to join my professional network at LinkedIn, where I do believe I have a humble voice that is increasing during this past, especially for 5 years. And I am also make a very small, try to be comprehensive, directed approach to this subject that we will be discussing today from my perspective. And you can find it on a G Drive to download. And I put also a link here in our chat. So thank you very much. Thank for those that are attending and listening and seeing us from other platforms too. And I will now ask your permission to share my screen in order to make this very humble presentation to you. I will put in a presentation mode, and hopefully we will have some a more concise, because we can have a whole day, probably a week, experiencing the opportunity to talk with this great subject that is global financial architecture, especially with the concerns and impacts of what's going on if we take into the consideration the past 2 and 3 years that we have all experienced global pandemic of COVID-19. And of course, COVID-19 changed everything that we know about consumer and society sustainability, because we are now trying to develop even some new drivers to approach things that we have been pretty sure of how to approach before this pandemic start in the year 2020, in the beginning of the year 2020, in a city called Wuhan in China, and from there it spread out through to the world. So we have really to promote a greater integration among financial markets and small and medium enterprises around the globe. And I will enjoy to refer ourselves, because when we talk about a small and medium enterprise and businesses here in Brazil, we are talking only about over 90% of the total of the enterprises that we have in place. This is something that I will bring, of course, to this presentation too. After this second, thanks for the invitation. So here we are. I will not talk about myself because I was really duly introduced here for those people that do have the interest, and you will have an opportunity by joining me to my professional networks, or we will probably have, as I have already started, some connections from the past event that I have attended here. And so we will be able to discuss further, different perspectives and approaches to what we are trying to do here, bringing some knowledge to put this knowledge together on behalf of the society, on behalf of the world, on behalf of the a more sustainable future. It is true, I have an experience with a lot of organizations, so I always bring here, like a large umbrella, some of them that are really more umbilically connected at this moment. And I would like to detach one that is Global Sustainable Future Network through partnership that I was, I humbly accepted a very, difficult task, and yet marvelous task, that is to be like a chair of the SCG4, that is, a very intense experience for me, because I have been experienced to be in the academic sector and being a professor or lecturer for the past 30 years in my life in higher education mostly. And so it is both an honor and a challenge to be accomplished for this task that was assigned to be the one of the global chairs. And then in the past presentation, I used the same image that I'm using today, because I do believe that it takes us to the lead of everything that we will be able to discuss further in any subject, because we know that the future arrived and brought us a hard impact on the global society. And from those that cannot see on an appropriate way, I am, I show casing a picture, a draft of our mother art wearing a face mask that is probably, something that was really close to our reality, especially in the hardest moment of the COVID-19 pandemic in the past years. And from that moment on, things change. And if we have to make like a soup of words, try to address or try to build a bridge between the financial environment and the SMEs, in order to, attest that they play a key role in national economies around the world, we will have, of course, to put as a north, as a key direction, that they are central to the efforts that we are trying to pursue to achieve environmental sustainability and more inclusive growth. So this is something that we have heard a lot from the previous speakers that we have this Sunday here joining us. And of course, however, these contributions may vary widely across firms and across countries and sectors. But as a matter of fact, if we can put some pinpoints to highlight the contribution of the small and medium enterprise to economic development, we could say, for example, economic transformation and poverty alleviation. We will be able to say capacity formation. We will be able to say or to address technological and industrial development, the promotion of growth, industrial dispersal, backward and forward linkage, and technological acquisition. Some of these subjects that could be on a more or less intensive connection with the finance and environment that we have here. So you will have some thunder background that I cannot avoid, because we are experienced to have a very huge rain just coming in this moment that we are taking this presentation here in this beautiful city of Rio de Janeiro, that's in Brazil, that's now totally cloud and subject to hot rain. So specifically, I would like to pinpoint that small and medium enterprises represent something around 90% of business and more than half of the employment around the globe. And of course, I am taking into consideration all the balances and the data that come from international organizations, most from OCDE, World Bank, and experts that are really connected to give us these realistic numbers. So it's fair to put in place that we have, if we're talking about SMEs, a majority, we are experiencing a majority of the importance in different aspects of our life. And so if we take into consideration for small and medium enterprises, they contribute up to 40% of national income in emerging economies. And I would like to quote that Brazil is still considered an emerging economy, despite of the fact that we are occupying one of the 10 places among the largest economy in the world. So we have a contest here. If we have to draft the small and medium enterprise in Brazil, globally, we have accounted in the year at the bottom end of the year 2022, something about 22 million small businesses that are fundamental to the economy, because they are accounting up to that period of time that is so close. We are just one semester ahead of the data that I'm taking here into consideration. Over 95% of all companies that exist in the country, 55% of the total set of jobs, and almost 30% of the GDP in Brazil. So it's not, we don't have to be humble when we talk about the influence and the participation of the small and medium enterprises here in Brazil in a lot of contexts. So they account for more than a quarter of the gross domestic product GDP and are in full recovery after facing the crisis caused by COVID-19 pandemic. So I'm bringing an image of a figure that stands our real currency, like affected by COVID-19 virus, but because in such a great environment as we have here of when we talk about SMEs, we will have impacts of giant proportions after this COVID-19 pandemic, and some of these impacts we are still dealing with. So if we take now a very fast drive to talk about financial markets and bring like a sum up of all those things that we have been discussing here in this Sunday as an overview, we will talk about something that is able to relate financial markets with the facilitation to exchange funds between investors and borrowers. So this could be a very good overview, because we were talking about inclusion of stock markets for equities, bond markets for debt, money markets for short-term funds, and so far in terms of economy. And so if we brought all these aspects of financial and economic aspects and constraints that we are dealing with, we are able to arrive in a place where we can draft a little bit more the challenges that are faced by SMEs. And I would like to highlight really that SMEs often lack collateral, making it difficult to secure traditional loans. So this is one of major challenges that could be seconded by, because we can align, a dozen of very impactful challenges, but I would like to bring to a couple of them, 2 or 3, in order to highlight our experience by doing this bridge connection between SMEs and financial markets. One of them I would like to highlight also is the information asymmetry and high borrowing costs limiting their access to finance. So this is well related in the aspect that Professor Erdiana brought us today with the very good explanations about the role of fintechs in this subject. So integration benefits should be more linked in the direction that integration SMEs with financial market would unlock capital for expansion. If we talk about in terms of economy, development, and foster sustainability, economics and social sustainability, there are some, dimensions that we cannot bring apart. They have to be connected with this journey and experiences of ours. And also, I foresaw some very important improved risk management, access to diverse funding sources to enhance their competitiveness. So this is something that I would like to bring and to this presentation and to discussion. And so there are, of course, a wide range, a variety of initiatives for bringing this integration. And one of them, of course, will be like Dr. Herdiana told us, fintechs. And in case of Brazil, I would just like to make a slight highlight in Brazil. And it brought me to the scene the importance to, connect the dots with what Professor Herdiana brought us here in the morning. And that's why I added this while she was speaking, because I would like to reinforce the speech that we had before. They mean really a revolution in terms of financial inclusion, especially here in Brazil. And Brazilian fintechs are really transforming financial sector because they are providing more democratic and differentiated services and products than traditional banks used to. So this is one of the questions. Of course, this is so significant to address the subject of the need to have this boost and to secure this kind of proposition, that we could stop at this moment. But I would like to go further and say that financial startups apply technology to include people, so that they can carry out financial operations even without an account in traditional banks. So this is why we have the live example of one of the largest fintechs that we have around the globe, and today probably is one of the most important, that is Nubank, that was created here in a joint venture by a Brazilian woman that presently is the head of Nubank operations, and a Colombian, executive that brought together this initiative. And now we are talking about a digital bank platform that is, addressing over 60 million current users and consumers. So why it's happening? Because financial startups apply technology to include people, and they can do it because they foresee ahead something that is in a perspective that's quite different from the bank, because banks in Brazil while we do have annual taxation in the economy around, it's still a two-figure, but it's decreasing around 10, 11%. We have traditional banks applying, let's say, 350%, figures in order to capitalize the money that we have in credit cards or the money that we request on a loan and things like that. So it's unthinkable. All around the world, it's not possible to find out some, let's say, tremendous inequality in terms of managing the bank here as we have here in Brazil. So what we have data from the Global FinTech Rankings report by the British company Findex Table point out of Brazil prominence in the global fintech ecosystems, the financial services startup. The country ranks 14 in the global ranking according report that was made in the beginning of this 2023 year. And so the FinTech report also shows that Latin America has been gaining relevance worldwide, and in this context, Brazilian fintechs stand out in the year 22 for receiving 40% of the total almost 9.5 billion US dollar investments made in startups here in the country. So this is the sound huge relevance of fintech here, not only in Brazil, but we are experiencing this in the continent as a whole. So Latin America, I believe from Mexico down, we have a sort of variety of experiences and local programs here in Brazil. Just like Professor Herdiana told us, we have a research initiative of providing financial and technical assistance. Of course, I will quote later a couple of other programs that we have in very particular dimension, just like this one we have here in Brazil. So there are some role of the digitalization to be implicit in what we are talking about when we talk about in terms of fintech platforms and the connection to small and medium entrepreneurs as lenders and investors online. We talk about crowdfunding and peer-to-peer lending, offer alternatives and financing options. And of course, we have, like I told you before, this is a huge movement, not only here in Brazil and Latin America, as we have saw for the previous almost 9.5 billion figure, but other case studies like the Indian, like in India, where SMEs access international investors through online platforms, United Kingdom funding circle that connect SMEs with investors, boosting their growth, things that are happening worldwide. There are some strategies, of course, for promoting integration. I would like to quote that we have to simplify regulatory procedure in order to make easy for SMEs to access markets as a priority. I would like also to quote, and I would like also to reinforce the need to strengthen credit information systems to help lenders assess SMEs with more, more easy mood or easygoing way. And there are, for instance, some policy recommendations to do so, and the government should create supportive policies for SMEs or to reinforce the policies that are already in place. And and also to have a new, let's say, I would like to use a word, enlightened regulatory framework that encourage fintech innovation. At the same time, they safeguard investor interests. So this is something that is possible to do. I would like to say that we are Seed Star, that is an international organization of mentors, put in place a challenge, a hackathon that is driven to exactly to build a possibility of, creating a more friendly environment for SMEs. And we have, as exponentialis here, applied an idea. And let's see further what happens, especially because we are talking about dealing with the boosting of this fintech to sustainability environment in 4 different countries here in Latin America. And hopefully we will get some very good ideas to the table and act with these ideas from the agenda again to the action. So I'm coming to a conclusion, a very brief conclusion, that integrating SMEs with financial markets is pivotal for our economic development, especially in terms of sustainability, because we cannot say economic development without the sustainability word any longer, especially in the post-pandemic times that we are facing it. And a collaboration between governments, financial institutions, and fintechs can drive this integration. So I would like to thank you very much for your patience, and of course again for this invitation. Dr. Srividhya, thank you again for making me join this group. So I'm hot feeling that I am becoming a part, a live presence in the upcoming meetings that we will have. Warm greeting from Brazil to you all. We have lots of training, advisory, and research services. We are putting this at your hands. I am happy because I just had joined a group of global mentors in this past week, and now the CEO is coming to me here in the WhatsApp saying, "Hey, Jose Esteves, I would like to talk with you about more about this." Because when I have created Exponentialis, a change-making education and learning platform, it was my felt a deep intention to mitigate the gap between public and private education systems. That is really huge here in Brazil, and that exponentially grow during the COVID-19 pandemic, most impactful years. So I'm always bringing and sharing this an opportunity, because we can together build a very strong connections in order to change, especially to change the curricula that we have in higher education institution at this moment in different areas, to bring this sustainable future approach in different subject matters and directions. So once more, thank you very much for your patience, for your kindness of attending an event here, and a very, very, really warm greeting from Brazil. I will now stop to share, and I am able to come back again to our more personal mode here in the platform. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Esteves. I am so happy to have a Latin American country here with me too. Definitely SMEs are the core of our economy. And I have to say that in my respect, when I'm always helping women or female entrepreneurs find financing, is very, very difficult, but it's not only for women, it is for any small or medium organization or company. We call them pymes here in Latin America, but definitely they are the core, and really integrating them to financial markets is the key. I think that alternative financing is definitely going to continue growing, and fintech companies will continue to throw us that safety net, but we need everybody's cooperation, including the government, the private sector. So definitely, thank you so much for bringing that important information to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Virginia, and thank you, Professor Joe Davis. It was a brilliant presentation. It had taken us through the journey of exactly what is SME, how did it even start, and what are the problems that are being faced, the challenges that are being faced. And in resolving those challenges, what we need to be so proactive and pragmatic in resolving those challenges, keeping in consideration, taking into account of everybody who is involved in this. And moreover, as you rightly said, to go up to the smallest company is going to stabilize the global economy. Right. Thank you so much. Well, we have really come to the end of this session. And before we sum up, I think we missed out one of the speaker who lost his connection. Because of that, he couldn't complete his presentation. That was on strengthening financial systems in developing countries, the case for incentives based on financial sector reforms. And we have here Dr. Herbert Mandela Matova, who is the chairman and founder of the AN Africa Entrepreneurs Network, an organization in Africa in more than 21 countries. He was the director general of Africa for GCPIT, who is responsible for sustainable media and publishing. He said that he volunteered himself so gracefully, saying that, let me just put up something because I can handle this pointer. We can complete it because we don't want to leave it incomplete. Thank you so much for being so thoughtful about it, and thanks for all the interest. Thanks for being in your involvement and your participation, coming forward to just pitch into that situation. Thank you so much. That was too great of you, Dr. Herbert. It's always a pleasure to have you here.
Dr. Srividhya, after Dr. Herbert, Dr. Moba also rejoined. Now he has a connection. So after Dr. Herbert, he will continue his presentation.
Well noted. Sure. Thank you. So Dr. Herbert knows that he is going to keep it short and sweet. Thank you.
Yep. Can I come through?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Good evening or good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for this important platform, and to Prof. Jose, thank you so very much. I had reached out to you in the chat. I only realized when I was going through my phone that I have your contacts. I was wondering because I had reached out to ask for your contacts. As Dr. Sukuma said, I am founder and chairperson of Africa Entrepreneurs Network. I mean, listening to Professor Jose, it was very interesting because and with the topic that we have today around financial inclusion, I listened to the speakers that came about. I'm of the opinion that I think a whole lot of, like what Prof. Jose went on to speak about, SMEs or medium, small enterprises are contributing much to the GDP, Africa and the world. And in my experience in working with them, there's a huge need for financial literacy, accessing resources, collaborations and partnerships. Listening to speakers at this platform, I think I heard Professor Hediana said, it looks like an incredible task, but I believe it's achievable. I did put up something which I'm still going to put it up properly and send it into a PowerPoint through Dr. Sukuma. She will definitely be able to share with everybody. When she reached out to me, I was behind the scenes. I said, let me just go through. I'm tasked in a few minutes to summarize strengthening financial system and capital frameworks. Forgive me because this is in a write-up. I'll put it in a PowerPoint. I probably will not be able to come and share on the big screen, but I can just run through the points that are developed in PowerPoint and share that everybody can have them. If we look at the topic itself, global financial architecture and international growth, I mean, around finances, it's an incredible topic, which I believe, as Prof. Jose was talking about, SMEs, globally, I think in Africa, I can probably say the governments have not really acknowledged the contributions that SMEs play. And the civil servants of the government does not really employ a lot of people than the SMEs do. Why would we need strengthening financial systems and capital frameworks? For many reasons. Number one, it will help us strengthen financial systems and capital frameworks. Strengthening financial systems and also capital frameworks is very essential for promoting stability, resilience, confidence in the financial sector. The processes definitely would involve implementing a lot of policies, regulations, and practices that enhance the overall health and functioning of financial institutions, plus the broader financial market. I'm going to run through just some of the pointers which I have developed. I was developing into PowerPoint, which we will also be able to receive. Number one, there is need for a capital adequacy requirements, either from those in the financial sectors, those who are doing business. Financial institutions, especially banks, are required to maintain a certain level of capital as a buffer against potential losses. The risk management practices around strengthening. Financial institutions also need to have robust risk management practices in place. These would include identifying, measuring, and managing various types of risks, such as credit risk, market risk, and liquidity and operational risks. You will find in Africa, I've seen people with brilliant visions to start a business, but without access and financial literacy and access of the resources, you don't have sustainable businesses, because most of them collapse because the access of resources financially or the literacy understanding of finances is not there. But the business, if you would have looked at, be it in agriculture, be it in mining, be it in training and development, be it in innovation, they literally collapse, not because it is not able to be sustained, but there is no capacity to do that. One of the things that we need to do as we strengthen is to have a regulatory oversight. Strong regulatory oversight is crucial for maintaining the stability of financial systems. Regulatory agencies set rules and guidelines for financial institutions to follow, ensuring that they operate in a safe and sound manner. We'll also go to one of the two last points that I put up, but they are developed in different components, PowerPoint, which I will share with Dr. Sukuma tonight, and then she can share with everybody. We also have macro-prudential policies that are important to be developed. These policies focus on the stability of the entire financial system rather than the individual institutions. They involve measures such as monitoring systematic risks, settling limits onto value ratios, and implementing stress tests to assess how the financial system would cope under adverse conditions. And COVID really affected a whole lot of SMEs, not just in Africa, globally. And without a whole lot of understanding in terms of financial literacy projections and access of resources or partnerships and collaborations. That's why this topic is very important to me, looking at the SMEs and how they can continue to grow and to be sustainable in the many years that are coming. There's also need for have resolution of frameworks as a way of strengthening. In the event that a financial institution becomes insolvent or faces significant distress, having effective resolution frameworks in place is important. These frameworks outline the procedures for winding down and recapitalizing failing institutes in orderly manner, minimizing the impact on the broader financial system. I know a lot of companies in South Africa, an industrial hub for Africa in Egypt, and a whole lot of in Ghana, in Nigeria, that literally collapsed during the COVID. And many times it has left many on the jobs on the streets. There's also need, as a way of strengthening, transparency and disclosure. Transparency in financial reporting and disclosure of relevant information to investors and stakeholders. These things we are encouraging the entrepreneurs, the SMEs that we are working with. It's important when you are going to work with investors. They need that transparency. They need to know how you've been managing your finances in the past years, even accessing the resources. to get to a financial institute. You need to have been able to bring up transparent financial reports and disclosure of relevant information. Stakeholders are crucial for maintaining trust in the financial system. Clear and accurate information allows market participants to make informed decisions. And lastly, but not least, there's also need as a way of strengthening cross-border coordination. Financial systems are often interconnected globally. Effective coordination and collaboration among different jurisdictions and regulatory bodies are essential to address cross-border risks and prevent regulatory arbitrage. There's a lot currently in terms of trade, free trade that is going on, a lot of platforms that are going on. We had a meeting, I think, early this year with India Chamber of Commerce reaching out saying they have entrepreneurs who would like to collaborate with entrepreneurs in Africa to identify areas of common interest. And the second part of it, we are going to be seeing entrepreneurs from Africa going to India, but the whole aspect is the financial architecture and the financial understanding and literacy of entrepreneurs and business and financial institutes, which are already existing. Servicing is extremely important to take the sustainability to another level. We'll look at technology and innovations as ways of strengthening these financial institutes and financial understanding and clarity for those in business. Like what Professor Jose says, there's need for education and training around these. Professionals working in the financial industry need to be well trained and knowledgeable about the complexities of financial systems and regulations. Ongoing education and training programs can help ensure well-informed workforce. This is just what I've written in brief, but I was in the process when I was told by Dr. Sukuma in the process of making it our PowerPoint with some graphs and whatever. I'll be able to share it with her and then we can access it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Herbert. We couldn't just believe that it was a last-minute preparation. It was so comprehensive, really. It has summed up all the points which are required, talking about the strengthening the systems that are required. That's the most indispensable part of it. That's what is we are going to talk about, and we have talked about through and through. As you rightly said, it is an international cooperative effort that has been focused on reducing the financial fragility and systematic risks in global financial markets. Proceeding further in 3 different areas of enhancing financial market and transparency, improving the international financial architecture, and strengthening financial systems with proper policies and protocols and the SOPs, which are much required. So strengthening this financial systems means cooperating to promote principles and sound practices for financial stability through the development of the well-functioning systems and the market. So thank you so much. Beautifully setting up rules and articulating standards and approving legislation, creating new institutions, setting up new standards. You have covered them all. Thank you so much, Dr. Herbert. Thank you. It was amazing. Thank you. So we have got Dr. Frolian Mobo, who has joined us again to complete his presentation. And we really appreciate your interest and your enthusiasm of joining you back with due respect. And we welcome you on board once again to present it further. Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. So again, let me continue my discussion about analysis of policy in the making. Of course, nowadays, for example, in our institutions in Philippine Merchant Marine Academy, just for the purpose of doing a sustainable developmental projects, what we are doing is, especially in my department in research and extension, we are creating policies and guidelines which are really aligned to the mandate of the institution. Of course, also it is also connected with the mandate of the department, because what we are doing is we are creating policies and guidelines which is really aligned to the community extensions that is pursuing, of course, a sustainable development goal, which will be possible help our community in terms of economic problems that they have been encountered. So those are the possible recommendations that we can do, of course, in order to sustain well-developed communities, just like what we are doing this coming September, where we come up with a plan proposals, part of analysis that we'll be doing this yearly, annually, a project wherein it can anchor to the sustainable development goal, just like what, for example, we are going to focus on the environmental concern. So what we are doing with some of my projects in the community extension is, of course, we are doing the advocacy of planting trees, for example, mangrove, just that is to protect flood from nearby barangays or sitios, which is near the coastal area of San Narciso, Samba. So part of it, that is one way on how to sustain, of course, in terms of protect them from against flood and other factors. So those are the things that we are doing in my department in PMMA. We are creating policy, we analyze it, and then later we recommend based on the, of course, the needed requirement of the community. In that, that will be part of the impact assessment that can be that can formulate a policy making in the near future. So I think that would be all on my part. By doing policy analysis, it really helps us to think and come with a plan or a proposal for a purpose of recommending it, if it's possible to localize it or to share it in the global community. So that would be all on my part. So once again, thank you for inviting me. And again, in the Philippines, mabuhay and good evening and good morning.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mobo. It was fabulous, and the spirit and the enthusiasm is the one that is our takeaway today from you. Really, for coming back and for saying that I'm going to complete my presentation. That's really fabulous. That's the spirit of it, and that's the spirit of IIU, isn't it, Dr. Nada?
Yes, sir. I want to say, after Dr. Mobo is really doing a great job in research, in science, technology, innovation. Today we are talking about this financial institutions, these models. So he has really a great model. I can say he's handled so many businesses, and he's a great entrepreneur. He's an amazing leader. He has a very famous journal, now starting with a new journal, leading so many institutes, research institutes. So Dr. Mobo is really doing a great work, and you cannot do that if you don't have a financial knowledge. So today we really covered great this topic. I hope that our audience is really satisfied with this, because talking about building this financial architecture is really important, especially me, I'm coming from this field. This is my specialization. Today I was listening others talking about this. So I don't want to talk a lot. I want to say that we had today a really successful, fabulous, another G20 summit. We are thankful to all our esteemed guests. We are thankful to Dr. Srividhya Sukumar, our project director, for doing this great work. We are proud on Dr. Sandy because she is leading this project from India. We, Dr. Virginia and me from IIU, I'm proud on us too, because we are here from the starting. Dr. Herdiana makes a story, an amazing story. I'm sure that that story will be listened and so many times. Our great Jose Esteves comes again with us from Brazil. Thank you, respected Jose. It is really an honor to have you again today talking about this important topic. Dr. Herbert comes again after issues. So what to say? We don't have problems. We are just amazing. We are just amazing. As we started from our first day, from our first G20, talking about different topics. We still have 4 G20, so 4 Sundays. Please, dear audience, be with us for the next 4 Sundays when we will cover many more topics. So that is the main reason what we are doing this. We want to spread this all over the world. So, Dr. Srividhya, I want to say today, and our great visionary, Sir Piyush Pandit, educationist, who has this dream, who is providing this education, he's not with us today, but till we are here, he's listening us and working, continuously working on new projects. So we are coming very soon, tomorrow, new topic, new training session for a few days, new great woman empowerment conference. So IIU is really a revolution. And I can say, honestly, we have so many here new projects. So we are leading this new project, and again, till this year, we will finish this year really with big results, with great contributions to whole world. Talking about the youth, talking about the students, talking about adults, talking about preschool child. So we are covering everything. We are covering everything in each one field. So this infrastructure, we say today, what is for me really famous. I want to say that we cannot live. Yesterday we celebrate World Humanitarian Day. We have amazing youth with us. We are talking today about this finance part. We cannot live without money, but money don't need to be on the first place. When we are educating our generations, we are talking about the financial literacy. We are talking about so many things, that how to get a salary, how to earn. So like example, where do you see yourself now? You finish your study, you get I can say like example, 1 million something. I will not say currency, different currencies we have, but where do you see yourself for 30 years? How will you spend your money? And on which way will you earn? So today, so many crypto values, investing in different things, but are you ready? Are you ready to work? And how will you work? And this today topic really will help our youth and our educators who were today listening, because they are not all coming from this part. The digital literacy, financial literacy, media literacy, eco literacy, all literacy needs to be correlated together. So digital education, everything. And yes, today we have all these literacies, because we cannot talk about financial literacy if we don't mention digital literacy. How we are getting money, which is the way we are getting money. We cannot get a transfer of money if we don't have blockchains and if we are not in this field. So I want to thanks once again to our great audience, to our great Sir Piyush Pandit, to all our esteemed guests, to all the organizers, to all, and Dr. Srividhya, please, the last words are from you.
Oh my goodness. Well, I think we shouldn't miss a few people, and thanking also, like Ms. Divya Somani, who was the first spark who talked about the transparency and the accountability in the financial, in the multilateral financial, that will bring the multilateral financial stability. Thank you so much for being so thoughtful in picking up that topic. Well, definitely, Ms. Divya, she had covered the whole process of starting from the threats, and she had taken us to the opportunities, and then talking about the strengths which are involved in it. And it was a beautiful presentation, definitely. And of course, Professor Dr. Jose, who just summed it up with the greater integration which is required for financial services and SME markets, definitely. And Mr. Srividhya, like he started with strengthening financial systems and capital framework, which was well summed up and concluded with Dr. Herbert. Thank you so much. It was a very insightful session. And it was an insightful sum up, and which is much required for the global framework, and the framework, definitely the fabric of the global economy that we're talking about. And Mr. Balaji Krishnan, who was talking about managing the international financial crisis, which is the most important topic of managing the financial crisis and economic challenges which are involved in it, which creates the fabric of the international infrastructure. And definitely with the risk management systems that are involved in it. That was again a beautiful presentation. And Mr. Chirag Gupta, though I got him wrong when I mentioned him as Pankaj Gupta, I'm sorry about it. Mr. Chirag Gupta was mentioning about the climate change policies on capital flows and risk perception and investors. So everyone, and Ms. Diana, what to say about you? You're such a fabulous person, Ms. Doctor. Really, you from the beginning to the start to stop. This is what I just summed it up to you in the beginning when I was summing up. And the same thing from the start of the session to the start of the session. Still, we have not done it. Still, you are there. That means you're always there. Your presence is always there. Not only with that, and with the topic of the very key topic of digital financial inclusion and advocacy to monitor the financial growth globally. You summed up so beautifully with two great examples of Kenya and India, and also that was fabulous. And also Dr. Frolian Mobu, who lost his connection, he came back. I like the spirit and enthusiasm that he has. That's the takeaway. That's my takeaway of today from Dr. Frolian. Really, the policy analysis and the recommendation for the sustainability, economic stability. So definitely, I think we are all putting our heart, mind, and soul together to get these resilient systems that can effectively respond to the emergencies while addressing the broader global economic issues, thereby creating a fabric of a sustainable future. Thank you. Thank you so much. And definitely, before we sum it up, it's our usual customary that we just let people know about our forthcoming sessions. So I need to share my screen now. With Dr. Nada, apologies for one second. I know I'm very late. You don't like it. And still, I need to do this, please. Over to Ms. Sandy. Hope my screen is visible.
It's loading. Not yet.
It is loading.
It is loading. Not
loading.
yet.
Okay. And Dr. Virginia, definitely my my partner in, no, I wouldn't say crime, my partner in the grave, who went out and who came back, and fabulous. It's always a fabulous team, end of the day. Over to Ms. Sandy, it's all yours.
Yes, every Sunday, week after week, we meet to contribute to the betterment of our very own one world. It's said that people who really want to show that they are there and they care, they give you your time. So we at the G20 International and the speakers here are the people who care for our world, our future generation. So on the 9th July, we began our presidency with ensure inclusively, equitably on quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all under the banner Education 360. On the 16th of July, it was followed by Shakti Spectrum and Women Empowerment and Yuva Go Global, wherein we talked about youth and the women empowerment with a paradigm shift from individual to leadership development and community partnership. On 23rd July, it was again a day of digitization with science stream, vocation, and employability, with the next production revolution on the focus. On the 30th July, it was a day of entrepreneurship and MSME, where our presidency was modernized and strengthened the industrial units to make them globally competent. The month of August began with energy resources, sources, sustainability, and employability. And our presidency was efficient and sustainable use of natural resources with 3 Rs, RE dialogue. followed by health is wealth, agriculture and food security. Our presidency was a global view of GVC's pattern, opportunities, and the role of policy. On 20th of August, inclusion, financial tech, architecture, and international growth. Today, we have deliberated and discussed on accelerated, inclusive, and resilient growth. So the next week, we are going to talk about international taxation, trade and investment, exports and imports. And our presidency will be to reform, reshape, and restructure and reconstitute the international tax architecture. On 3rd September, we will talk about heritage, culture, and tourism. 10th September, we will look forward on 2030 agenda and sustainable development, with our presidency being accelerating progress towards the SDG for an ambitious G20 action plan. And on 17th September will be the last session where we will be deliberating about publishing papers and patent submission. That is it from me.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sandhya. That was wonderful. Thank you, as always. Well, so we have come towards the end of this session. As we all know, that we always wait for Sunday to Sunday. And
Yes.
it's like
And we want a big smile from everyone who is on the stage, a big smile. So a beautiful photo, please. 1, 2, 3. Yes, we need beautiful photo.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank
And,
you.
Thank you so much. It was fabulous. Thank you. Thank you. It's
Yes.
another one more successful session, and we love IIU. Thank you so much. And
So till our next session, stay safe, stay healthy, and let us learn and grow together. Bye, 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 bye to all.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye. Good morning.
Thank
Have a good
Thank
day.
you, Professor.
Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Herbert. Thank you, Dr. Herdiana. Thank you
Herbert,
so much.
thank you. Yes, all.
Thank you.